Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 13th episode of the Neon Crew podcast. My name is Kyle.
And I'm going to go by my government name of McClain.
Hello, McClain. Hey, guess what?
Chicken butt.
It's Valentine's Day.
Hey, how about that? Yep.
Shout out to
all you lonesome suckers out there, all right?
Shout out to Valentine's Day. You know, Mac.
What?
We've known each other for quite a while.
Some time.
We used to work at Sam's Club together. You know, I'd see you almost on a daily basis,
Yep.
and now I still see you pretty regularly. You know, we have a show together.
Yep.
And we still like when we can, because we're both very busy men. Try to see.
How you said men.
Yes. Try to see each other outside of this sort of coming together for the sake of recording.
Right.
You know? Every once in a while we'll get that chance, like when we got to see French Dispatch together, go out to dinner a few times, you know.
And we also missed some chances too.
Yes. For sure we have. We'll get to that later, but it's one of the topics for today's episode. But I just wanted to say that I consider you to be my Valentine for the day. For
today?
For today.
These next 2 hours?
We'll
share these at the cinnamon
for
moment.
the duration of recording. As soon as we're done recording, I'm not going to talk to you.
It's fucking over. Capitalist pig.
Friendship with Mac ended.
Hey, no, I'm cool about
friendship
that, man.
New friendship with Gideon started. I just replace you.
Gideon shows up, I'm out.
It just cuts like mid-recording. Like it's Gideon's voice. We don't even acknowledge the fact that it's a different person.
Yeah, just keep going. He actually, the sentence ends, and then he just comes in and goes, and then it just knocks.
Yeah.
Like you just like stitch in his voice.
It's not even the same word.
That's special, man. Yeah. Hey, no, I'm happy to be here on this special day. Celebrating the exchanging of V cards.
Yeah, dude. If you follow us on the Facebook, you'll see that I posted a little bit of a Valentine card in the form of "Only God Forgives," Ryan Gosling's character, and also Mac posted it on the Twitter too. A little bit of more of a niche market, I would say, but
on our Twitter,
I
almost put to all 15 of our followers, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hold off on that. Maybe it won't read well in 3 years from now when we have 16.
Exactly. You're being very generous. Anyway, so yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you and to our listeners, all 30 of you, because that's pretty much like the average view count we get, at least on YouTube. Spotify's a little bit more, but I find that like we get the most views on YouTube at least.
That's pretty dope.
And it's funny because I can tell like which episodes do the best based on like what movies we talk about. Because our Matrix Spider-Man one got an okay amount of views. I mean, compared to what we normally get. Whereas like something like Bone Tomahawk and what other movie did we talk about then?
With Bone Tomahawk?
French Dispatch, maybe? Well, even that one got a little bit of okay views, I would say. But like some episodes do better than others just based on the movies we talk about. So we'll see how this one performs, I guess. But yeah, thanks for listening, you lovely boys and goyles, and happy Heart Candy Day, chocolate. Go eat some. And you know what? Even if you are single and by yourself and lonely and floating on this rock that we call Earth in an everlasting existence of solitude and isolation, just put on a movie. Escape reality for a good 2 hours,
Well, depending
hour 30.
on the movie, it could be a bad 2 hours.
Could be a bad 2 hours.
You're still escaping, though.
You're still escaping.
Get out of that bubble.
That's the important part.
Right.
Just keep that in mind. All right, so we got some movies to talk about, but before we do that, I figured we could maybe go over, because there's some Oscar stuff happening, I guess.
Okay.
Like they announced all the nominees, and I'm going to be real honest with you. Most of the nominees that are on the list of different categories.
Part of Apple production.
I have not, certainly Tragedy of Macbeth is.
I do want to see that. Is that McDermott and Denzel?
Denzel is in it for sure.
Yeah.
And I think he's even nominated for Best Lead Actor, which
Really?
is kind of cool. So
yeah.
It's on Apple TV, though, so I have to bum the account from my friend Mikey. So one of these days I have to give him a shout out and be like, hey, can I use your Apple TV? Because I've used his Hulu before.
Really?
On multiple occasions.
Okay.
Yeah. because I'm just a bum and I haven't paid for it yet.
Right.
Eventually I will, because I do want to go through like all the Always Sunny in Philadelphia episodes. But anyway, I figured we could maybe talk about it a little bit, I guess, before we get into like the movie
I guess we
discussions. Do you give a shit about the Oscars at all?
Do I?
Yeah.
Every year I wager money with friends and family as we pick our winners out of, 27 or 30 categories?
It's, it's like, I feel like it's, hold on. I can give a quick count. I'll edit this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 categories.
Yeah, so, if you get around 12 to 14, right, you're sitting in the money.
Yeah. That's a good idea to do, to keep it interesting, because otherwise it would just be really
kind of money, or
wagering money, because
okay.
if you're just watching it on your own, it's like you get some value out of it, and the most value you get out of it is like kind of the cringe factor, because it's always fun to see just celebrities be cringy on stage and on TV, on live TV.
It's kind of weird, isn't it, that they can go and entertain millions of audience members, but their one moment for 2 minutes, they just absolutely fucking crumble.
Yeah, and that's the only moment that people ever remember is when things get a little weird. Like when Jimmy Kimmel picked up that one kid and like held him up Lion King style during like, I think it was like the 2017 Oscars, or it might have been 2018. Lordy. I don't know. It was like, yeah, it might have been the same year that Black Panther got nominated for like Best Picture, which is kind of funny. But
they had there is a lot of politicking that goes on.
Yeah, a lot of politicking, and that I don't give a shit. Anyway, I'm not going to go through every category. That would just take way too long.
Let's go to the important ones. Short animated feature. Go.
Yes. So makeup and hairstyling. Coming to America. No, I'm not gonna. Sorry.
Usually only 3 in there.
I'm not going to focus on that one specifically. I am going to go to the Best Picture nominees.
Okay.
But I will admit I have not seen most of these, which I feel like
There's 10, right?
I feel like a little insecure, right, about my movie watching habits, and I've only seen 2 of the movies that are nominated for Best Picture. 2 out of the 10.
That's what the fucking, you don't be sheep.
I don't want to be sheep. That's the thing.
You can't be sheep.
I can't. But
we don't
can't help but feel like some obligation
to our listeners.
To our listeners and like to ourselves as people who love movies and love talking about movies and thinking about them in a critical way.
I don't know. It'd be like, living in 1936 Germany, and someone be like, I haven't seen Hitler talk yet. Could you believe that? I need to go watch him speak. Like, don't be that guy.
I love the fact that you compared the Oscars to
everything.
The Third Reich.
Hitler.
It all comes back. But I guess a lot of people, myself included, are a little bit puzzled by the fact that Adam McKay's Don't Look Up is nominated for Best Picture. Have you seen that movie?
No, I really want to, though.
I saw it pretty much when it came out, and I thought it was fine. I thought it was a average movie that I summed up in a way that I'm kind of proud of, in that I compare it to an episode of South Park. It's basically a live-action South Park movie because it tries to convey this really important message throughout the entire thing. And that's really like a big reason why people like the movie, is because they think it's like the most important movie they've ever seen. And yeah, that's all well and good, and that's like your opinion, man, or whatever the dude says.
Get him, dude.
But the fact that it's important and the message is important doesn't make it necessarily a great movie, because a lot of it is just really on the nose and obvious, and it genuinely feels like it's just a big budget South Park episode. Like, the movie does what episodes of South Park have like already done pretty much. It just points out the ineptitude of humanity and pop culture and the lack of urgency in the crisis that happens in the world.
Right.
And yeah, we know that stuff is happening, but the way that you just convey it in this movie and act like it's the most important thing in the world doesn't necessarily make it a good film. Like, it's very obvious and on the nose. But I don't know. That's just my thinking, and a lot of people think that same thing, and I feel like it was worth mentioning because a lot of people, myself included, feel that it shouldn't be nominated for Best Picture necessarily.
See, now that's what I'm talking about. We need to have a little bit of polarization on this thing because I absolutely think it needs to be nominated.
You haven't seen it yet.
Good point.
We'll circle back to it,
and we'll add some shock value.
Yes, exactly. I personally would have liked to see Tick Tick Boom get a Best Picture nomination.
Really?
Which is a lot for me to say because I'm not a big fan of musicals, and I really enjoyed that film.
Okay.
And they even nominated Andrew Garfield for lead actor
in
a performing role
for
Tick Tick Boom.
No, in the academies?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So yeah, it's interesting.
Think he's gonna win it?
I don't think he's gonna win it. I mean, based on who's in here. There's Javier Bardem from Being the Ricardos. I haven't seen it. Benedict Cumberbatch from The Power of the Dog. I haven't seen that. Andrew Garfield, Tick Tick Boom. Will Smith in King Richard, and then Denzel Washington in The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Really?
Yeah. So he's kind of stacked against him. And I don't think he's going to win.
He's probably the last one I pick out of all. And I haven't seen any of those movies. Tick Tick Boom's on Netflix.
Yes.
Macbeth's on Apple.
Yes.
King Richard, or King Dick,
Power
as I like to call it. HBO Max.
Probably.
Power of the Dog I've seen, actually. Power
of the Dog is on Netflix.
I was going to go with actually Cumberbatch, but that might be bias.
Yeah. You can still go for them. That's fine. As long as you acknowledge your bias, it's all good.
Oh, wait, does it work like that?
Yeah. Just say, hey, I'm biased, and then you can say whatever you want.
Yeah. I've only seen this one movie, so I'm going to go with the guy that I've seen.
There you go.
The 4 that I haven't. But I do want to see Macbeth. Okay, what is it? It's The Tragedy of Macbeth? The
Tragedy of Macbeth.
Now, it's only half a Coen that directed it?
Yeah, I think Joel is the one who directed it, not Ethan.
Okay, that's good, because I thought it was Joe and Joel. I was going to say, that gets confusing.
Yeah. It gets a little hard to keep track, especially when there is like a Joel Cohen and an Ethan Cohen who aren't related to either Coen brothers,
there's 4
and they're not even related
now
to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, now we're dealing with 4 people that are all similar. You know what happens is that like they have the alias.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever you've also gone by. Mm-hmm. They had a list of names, and they go, fuck, man, Ethan and Joel Coen have already been taken.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take the next one.
Yeah, it's like a Reddit username.
Yeah. Just you can actually look. One of the letters is capitalized in the last name, the H.
Yeah. The O is capitalized for some reason.
Yeah.
Cohen. Yeah. But yeah, I just want to touch on that for a bit, just because I feel like Oscars are happening. We need to talk about Oscars for a bit, I guess. I don't know. I'm cool with moving on to.
No, what's up with the Best Picture? I'm curious.
Best Picture.
I'd like to. You know, it sucks. Is like it's like I want to go see these movies, but you can only. They're only getting them on like one platform now. So either you have to fucking download it illegally or bum someone's subscription.
You're right.
So or pay for it yourself if you want to go that route.
Yeah, a lot of these movies I haven't even heard of, but I guess I'll have to look into them a little bit more.
Well, we have to. I mean, you just shit all over Don't Look Up, and it might be the best one out of those 10.
Somehow I doubt it, but I guess I'll read through the Best Picture nominees just real quick. So the first one is Belfast. Second one is
Kenneth.
Oh yeah, Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
I love his last name because I always just butcher it, so I just go for the silliest thing that I can think of.
Isn't there like 3 G's back there or something?
There's 2 A's, a GH, and whatever else is in between.
No, you can't have more vowels than consonants in a name.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Kenneth
Yeah.
I think I pronounced that right.
Belfast. Isn't that it's about like a silent picture?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard of it before.
Dude, let's play the game of I'll name the movie and Mac, you have to guess it.
Okay. All right, next one is Coda.
Who?
That I think he's
Coda?
a rapper.
Coda.
No, that's
Coda
Kodak. No, that's a camera.
No, that's a tin.
No, you're thinking of Wizard of Oz.
Who?
Tin Man, Wizard of Oz.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so cool. Wizard of Oz got a nomination.
Coda?
Yeah.
Is that about oh my God, Coda?
Yeah. CODA.
Oh, codeine.
Yeah, Oxycontin.
Yeah. All right. Coda. Next. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
And then Don't Look Up.
Okay.
Drive My Car.
Miss Daisy.
Dune.
Hey.
Shout out to Dune.
Yep.
King Richard.
Yep.
Licorice Pizza, which I want to see.
Same here.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
It did not make its way to the cinema carousel.
Gideon and Lawrence saw it. I think it is at the cinema, but there's only like 2 times that it's showing.
Maybe that's. I went to go watch it like when it first dropped, and the cinema in Muskegon cinema didn't have it. Like,
I think they have it now.
Do they?
I think they do now.
See, I went and watched. We'll get to it.
Yeah. Nightmare Alley, Guillermo del Toro.
That's on Hulu and HBO Max, I think. HBO Max has got some good shit.
I was gonna say it is on HBO Max. I just need to double down.
Have you seen that?
And watch
Last Duel, Nightmare Alley, and then one other one dropped on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Trollhunter's on HBO Max.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Shit, I rented it.
You didn't even go to IMDb?
I didn't even check to look.
Dude,
I always forget that I have it.
You go to IMDb and go to watch options.
Oh, well, that's fine. I'm okay with giving it money.
Oh, that's part of it. Yeah.
Preview for our discussion.
Whoa.
Okay, so The Power of the Dog, and then West Side Story.
I would be in. Fuck out of here. Steven Spielberg directed that too.
Yeah.
How good and how bad could that be at the same time?
I heard it's decent.
Yeah, it's probably like vomiting pancakes.
It's got the kid from Baby Driver in it. Ansel Elgort, whatever his name is.
I thought he died.
No, you're thinking of
Elgort Ansel.
Yeah, no, you're thinking of Al Gore.
No,
even though I think he's still alive.
He is still alive, bro.
Inconvenient Truth. That'll be my film pick at the end.
In memory of Al Gore.
Rest in peace, buddy. Pouring this one out for you. He's actually listening.
New T-shirt.
Yeah. R.I.P. Al Gore. He might sue us.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't want to get.
He might
mixed up with what
unsubscribe.
he's got.
I'd rather he sue us than unsubscribe. Honestly.
Seriously, Al, if you're listening, man, give us a like and give us a shout out.
Hit that bell so you know when the videos go up. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, those are all the Best Picture nominations. I almost said nominations. That would have been silly of me.
Man, it's slap happy time.
It really is. I'm actually really tired.
Really?
Yeah, I got up this morning at like 4:42 because my clock is always like 2 minutes ahead of what my phone is, so I always set it to like 2 minutes ahead of what I need to wake up by.
Right.
And so I get up, then I throw some clothes on, and then I go to work, and I was on my feet like all day because it's Valentine's Day and I work in produce, so I had to like deal with all the flower shit and
people asking you questions you don't know.
People, not really. It's just
cross-pollination.
A lot of the time I was just like throwing flowers into buckets of water, and we had a ton, like an ass load of flowers. Not even joking. And I know that I have a small butt. It's not a big butt by any means, but picture like the biggest butt you've ever seen. Times that by 2, that's how many flowers I had to deal with today. Crazy.
It's an ass load.
Absolute ass load. So yeah, I'm a little tired, but I guess that makes for good content, I guess.
It will make for good content, absolutely.
So speaking of good content.
Oh, yeah. Are we moving on from the Oscars?
I'm segueing into our discussion of Trollhunter.
Whoa!
Your film pick from last episode. That's going to be hell for listeners sometimes. So
cut this piece out. Put me in front of what just happened, and I will warn them you're about to hear something that's going to go off.
Okay. I won't do that.
Okay.
So anyway,
guys,
you and I watched a movie called Trollhunter. Came out 2011?
Oh my, 2010.
2010.
Oh yeah, so I got a little bit of the.
Do you want to give a summation, spoilers for Trollhunter, by the way?
So one thing that I guess I should make clear. So I was talking to piece of shit family member.
Wow. Is he somebody who might have asked a question that we're going to answer later?
I'm not going to drop Sam's name.
All right.
So
way to be the better man.
Yep. I try to be the best man, the better man.
The best man. You were best man at his wedding, weren't you?
I was, but I did not get the privilege of speaking.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, say your piece now.
I'm going to, because I still have it written out. Sam, this is for you and Megan. I just want to, no.
Yeah, probably for the best.
No, so, one of the things that I guess we wanted to highlight, too, is that, I don't know if we talk about it enough, but we're like a coffee shop talk.
Yes.
Right? This is not something where you're going to get scholarly articles and facts and figures, although I did do it with this one because it kind of interests me now that we go on budgets.
We're not going to do this thing that you want us to do that we're not going to cater to you, except I'm going to do this right now.
Well, I got a little bit of stuff. So, I mean, it does help out, though, but it made 2010. All right. I think that's when I saw it, or 2011. No, I saw it in 2010 because I was at Grand Valley. Directed by Andre Orvedel.
That is probably right.
Okay, that's good. As long as we're there, because he has the thing with the O with the slash through the middle of it.
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce that. I failed German in.
That's Norwegian,
MCC.
Man. Maybe it is German. I don't know.
It's probably Norwegian.
That's what
You're probably right.
Anyways, he directed Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Autopsy of Jane Doe, and Mortal, which is another Norwegian fairy tale flick with some Norwegian mythology. Right? Kind of crazy that he's getting...
He has a taste, dude, that's for sure.
Oh my God. Yes. So anyways, Trollhunter, real quick too, budgeted 19.9 million Norwegian krone. You know how much that shit's worth in American dollars?
I looked it up actually after the movie, but I kind of forget. Isn't it like 1.2 million?
It is 2.238 million.
Okay.
Yeah. So 1 krone's worth 11 cents, so suck it, Norway. Which I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah. Don't ask me about currency rates.
It's good. Me neither. Google helped me out.
Google.
All right, yeah.
Google help me.
So I mean, this movie's filmed off. It's based off a lot of Scandinavian folklore and art. It's essentially 3 college kids from Volta College.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love the way you pronounce that.
Dude, it's so hot. And that's me talking to me.
Happy Valentine's Day.
You guys like the Volta. Yeah, so they go on, and there's some wildlife that's being killed and hunted down, and they're getting nervous about it, and they go through and they want to try to figure out what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. And they get on the trail of a certain individual, and they approach him, kind of start tracking and trailing him, and one night they go out, and he happens to reveal that there's trolls.
Yep.
In Norway. Mm-hmm. And the movie kind of just takes off from there. So it's a little bit of the exposition kind of, it starts off one way and it completely dives into another way. Mm-hmm. And that's essentially how it goes. I mean, from there, you're with this guy and the college students and just following them around. So,
yep.
With that, I mean, I think that's as simplest as you could get with it, with being spot on and 100% correct.
Yes.
Or, actually, I got an easier one. You'd say they went troll hunting.
That is a very poignant statement right there. It's one of my favorite words to use, mostly because I can never pronounce it right. You recommended this movie, and obviously I so stupidly didn't check HBO Max to see if it was on there.
Don't beat yourself up, man. A lot of people didn't. And a lot of people confused the movie.
But I am kind of glad that I did rent a movie that I do think is of quality.
Ooh.
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
There we go.
Satiate.
Man, there you go.
I made up for poignant and Kenneth Branagh. We just get into
what are you doing to Kenneth?
We just get into like the throat singing from Dune. We just start doing that. But yeah, no, good film pick. Okay. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought that the characters were interesting and pretty varied for the type of style that the movie is, because it's very much a kind of like a Blair Witch sort of mockumentary style film, and it was even marketed almost kind of the same way that Blair Witch was, in that they tried their best to like hide the actors and like secretly film scenes so that like people wouldn't like catch on to what they were doing, and kind of like got down into like the nitty gritty of it, put out fake articles, that sort of thing, sort of like Blair Witch did. And you can kind of tell that it's like very much sort of inspired by that same like marketing folklore that was around the culture of Blair Witch. And I love the fact that it is for like a different type of genre other than horror. And you could, I guess, kind of argue that this is sort of a horror film at parts.
I agree 100%. It's very tough to say that it is or isn't, right?
It's definitely more of like a dark fantasy, almost like kind of a comedy at some points. There was a lot more lighthearted moments in this than something like Blair Witch. Blair Witch is a super like serious, straight-laced like horror film that's very effective and very good.
Well, let me just say, you're spot on. And one of the things that I want to say is at the end of the film, at the very end after the credits, there's a sequence that comes out that says no trolls were harmed during the filming of this movie.
Yeah, and they even. I love the fact, too, that they edited that clip of the, I think, Norwegian Prime Minister talking. Because I think that's a real interview that he was giving, or like a real press conference.
There is a field called the Troll Fields.
Yeah, and they edited the clip to make it seem like the Prime Minister just straight up acknowledges the fact that trolls exist.
Yeah.
And then the head of, what was the organization's name in the movie?
Yeah, Troll something security.
Yeah. And the head of TSS, who's like basically the main bad guy in the movie, he just like looks at the guy and he's like,
like we just did all this shit to protect this, and he just goes and blurts it out.
Yeah. And I love that like extra added like sense of realism, even though it's definitely like a high fantasy type of movie.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I love the character of Hans too.
Wasn't he awesome?
I think he's definitely my favorite character in the film for sure. And I think he's definitely the character in this movie that you're meant to like focus on and sort of like attach yourself to. If you had to like put a label on like a protagonist, it would definitely be him.
It's his story, and they follow. I mean, it's behind the markup of trolls, but they're definitely following him.
Yeah, and you get like a little bit of characterization with the film crew. Like the main three that start out, especially the guy with the blue coat, I forget his name. The one who gets like bit by the troll or like scratched by it.
Yeah, and they're trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
Yeah,
which is kind of funny because like we're just giving everything away, right? Like this is what we do. All right, coffee shop bitches. So shut the fuck up if you got problems with our spoilers.
Move to a different table if you don't want to get the movie spoiled.
Yeah, and don't bug us.
don't bug me, Karen.
All right, but no. So it's kind of funny because the whole time, if you think about it, like at least for me when I was watching again, because I didn't remember what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my god, is he gonna sprout a head? What's going on?
Right.
And then it's just rabies. He gets contaminated.
Yeah.
Like anything else that would.
It's just sort of like a realistic yet still alarming fact of life of like getting bit by an animal.
Yeah. Which is kind of like one of those funny things is this whole time you're like, because you find out it's trolls and you're like, man, what's going to happen to it? And it's just like, you got to go to a hospital, dude. You got rabies.
Well, you get that side of it, but then you also kind of get the other side of like, oh, this dude could straight up get eaten like the camera guy does when they're trying to escape from the cave.
Yeah.
Tomas. Is Tomas the blue coat guy?
Yeah.
Or okay.
I don't know. The camera guy, just call it camera guy.
Okay. Yeah, camera guy gets, he meets a gruesome demise. And they have to get a new camera lady to come out and replace him.
One of the most wholesome parts of the film.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought this film was pretty good overall. I enjoyed the tightness of the story. I enjoyed the fact that there is a decent amount of humor sprinkled into it. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when it's revealed that they to like fake the troll attacks on people, they always say that it's a bear attack.
Yeah.
And so the guy comes with a van and he pulls out these fake bear paws with sticks on them and he starts walking around with like bear shoes and these bear paws like in front of him, just making these fake tracks. And then later in the film when he's doing the same thing and all the people are like on the scene of the bear attack, quote unquote, the camera guy who, he's already well in the deep end of like the troll lore at this point. He knows that trolls are a thing. So he's like kind of teasing him like, hey, aren't these paws? Isn't the left one on the right side and the right side on the left one? Like,
was that bear walking crisscross?
Yeah, was that? I just thought that was like a really funny.
Did you see what happened? So he says that in the car. He goes over and talks to the guy, and the car runs over the tracks.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that part.
Because then Tomas is like, hey, the tracks. Where you going?
Yeah, I just noticed that he pointed it out, and then the guy got embarrassed, and he was like leaving. Yeah. And then all the other people like started asking the same thing. Like, yeah, what about these bear tracks? Like,
dude, the best part about that too is so we were looking up a little geography that a Russian bear from St. Peter's, from Russia made its way. So it would have went through Finland, Sweden, and then halfway into Norway to get to where they're at. Like when they were doing the Russian bear thing, I was like, oh yeah, I could definitely you got to fake it as something. And then you look up, that bear would have traveled tracked like 10,000 miles.
Bear probably would have died on the way over.
Oh my God. What the fucking bear would just go to Norway?
Well, it just adds to the absurdity of the situations that the people in the film are forced to acknowledge. The people are forced to acknowledge the fact that it's a Russian bear in Norwegian territory. And then also with the power lines. Yeah. When they go to the power plant to point out the power line map, the guy basically goes like, don't you find it silly that this is like in a giant circle that doesn't connect to anything? And he's like, I guess that is a little weird. Yeah. Anyway, you guys can hang your coats up over there. I love the acknowledgement of like the absurdity of the situations that they have to impose on themselves to keep the trolls in certain areas. Yeah. And yeah, that's just an added layer of the movie that I really enjoyed, like the kind of lighthearted element compared to Blair Witch, because I always found myself comparing this movie to that just by default, just the way that the film is made and the style of it and everything. What did you think of like the different types of like trolls and like the folklore and like the mythology behind it? Because like I was very pleasantly surprised at how detailed they were with like the different species of trolls. They had like the mountain trolls and the
Jontnar,
like the different names for them. Yeah, like the types of trolls, like the mountain trolls and the woodland trolls, and like how they would meet at this like ravine and there'd be like these battles going on,
fights. Yeah, and you could see, and it's just
they made like this whole history for the trolls, and it was really cool how like detailed it was, but then also it served the point of the story in that like these guys are just they're finding out that trolls exist for the first time ever. So they're of course going to try to learn all they can about them. Like it's exposition, but it doesn't feel forced. It's a good example of like a sort of like a show don't tell sort of thing, because he's like filling out the reports of like the troll that he killed, like the first one that you see in the movie with the three heads.
Or it's like a TDF or something like that, like troll death form.
Yeah. It's a very like monotonous sort of form that he fills out.
It's what you do for taxes, or like if you had to fill some red tape shit out, that you need a form pass, like No, it was. That was one thing that was lost on me when from original viewing to this time. Mm-hmm. I kind of forgot how. So Hans, they meet Hans and you find out he works for the government, this and that. TSS always escaped me. I never paid attention to that. Mm-hmm. Finn, who was he was the guy that led the TSS, but he was also a part of the Wildlife Council. Yeah. So he had that identity to hide, who he was. Mm-hmm. No, I thought they did a really good job making it like, hey, we're just going to take you, audience member, and put you in Norway and say that this is really happening. Yeah. And, they definitely did a great job, like you say, with the fluff and some of the lightheartedness, because they make trolls out to be animals. Like at one point it says they're mammals. Mm-hmm. They reproduce, they eat, they live for thousands of years. But like, so it's not like the Blair Witch where they're finding something that's killing or, like some, it is just like, hey, it'd be like if, someone said there's a giraffe in Muskegon, like, yeah. And then we just go and try to find a giraffe. Like, obviously there might be some peril involved, or
it's
however.
It's like trying to deal with like an alligator.
Yeah. In the sewer swamps. Like, like, hey, it's one of those, I thought that it was just it's really fun. I didn't realize how much fun it is just to be with them, because they definitely take this dumbass concept and put it in a believable form, right? Yeah. So yeah, and then they have different species, and they go through, and he goes about how they exist, how they kind of their environments impact and what they do and how they're, and then something simple that gets infected and starts spreading.
Yeah,
like mad cow disease.
They could have easily gone the route of like just an action movie where they just kill trolls the whole time. And I'm glad that they didn't. I'm glad that they took like this creative avenue with it and made it fresh.
Yeah.
And I really like the fact that like you said, it feels like almost like a nature documentary at some points. You're like, especially the scene when he's got to get the blood sample on the bridge.
Yeah.
When he got smacked after like the first go around trying to get the blood, when he's wearing like that giant like metal suit to like protect him, I thought he was done for. Like,
I did, yeah.
He just gets straight up punched in the side, and you see his body just fly and hit the railing and just crumble to the ground. And I thought for sure he was dead. I didn't like gasp, but I just had my jaw like open, just like. Like what happened to this dude?
Because honestly, first time seeing it, you probably don't know what. When it opens up, you get. They go in, they find him, they try, and he does this troll scream, right? And then they get out of there. You don't know what the hell's happening. It's just like, and so it's like, all right, where are they going to go with this? Like, how much? Because in Blair Witch, they completely hide the thing the whole time.
Yeah,
you never
see the Blair Witch.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just living in that heightened hysteria of when's it gonna. In this one, they're like, boom, here it is, troll. There you go.
Yeah.
And so you think it's going one way, or it's like, oh, like you said, they're gonna go and find these things, they're going and kill them, and then the guy starts talking, and then one of the best parts, he goes, "It's a fucking dirty job. I hate it. I'm gonna expose everything that's going on because I don't get overtime. I don't make bonuses." Like he gets into shit you'd hear someone at Sam's Club say about like why like I'm not gonna become a manager because they don't fucking cost of living's going up and they give me 10 cents instead of 25. Like fuck this place.
Yeah. And I think it's a good comparison that they make between like the trolls and the bears in the film, because you can take the scene when they're like stuck in the cave, with the other like, or they were like mountain trolls or something.
Mountain Kings,
yeah. When they're stuck in the cave with the Mountain Kings, you could easily like interchange those trolls with like actual grizzly bears, or cave bears, and it would have the same exact tone. Like same amount of danger, same exact tone, because the movie just serves that purpose of like showing the trolls as animals. Yeah, and I really enjoyed that. I guess I will admit, and this is completely acknowledging the fact that it is like kind of a smaller budget like indie film. I still feel like I have to acknowledge the special effects. Like
so that's what I was curious about. I really am curious. So when I first saw it in 2010, so 12 years ago, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm the one that I recommended it, and then all of a sudden, I watched it on yesterday, and I was like, at the time the CGI was a lot better than where it was at, and then so watching it again now, granted I think there's some clunky points in it.
There is like I definitely think the first troll encounter is like the weakest in terms of special effects.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's just because of the fact that they chose to make it like a 3-headed troll, or just the fact that like a lot of it was like night vision. But I definitely think that specific scene with that troll is like the weakest in terms of special effects.
And I'm gonna agree with that too, and I also think it's because of scaling.
Yeah. For sure. And it is kind of like, I think it is also too like the weakest in terms of like the fact that it's like the first troll we see. So you're not used to seeing like that type of special effect throughout the movie quite yet.
Right.
Because once you like get the ball rolling and you see more of them, you can kind of like suspend your disbelief a little more. Like, okay, I can reference the last troll that I saw to this one, and I can sort of like set myself up to believe this scene a little bit more.
Yes.
So the fact that it is like the first scene kind of like has that going against it, just in of itself.
Well, and you got it. The other part too is how choppy these types of movies are with the POV, which is actually one of the things I just realized yesterday watching it was like, man, there are a lot of edits for something that should be just straight filmed, especially if it's found footage.
Yeah.
You won't hit stop and then record again, like what they do.
Right.
So, I mean, I know that you have to do it because of the film, but like, I was like,
yeah, it is. Yeah. But at that point, I just kind of suspend my disbelief.
I know. It's just one of the. I find it funny that it's found footage, yet it's still edited.
Yeah. That's very true.
But I'm like, so I think what happens too is the chalkiness or the choppiness of that with the first time seeing the CGI troll. I mean, it's like you kind of have to nail that one.
Yeah.
And I don't think they did.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely like you can tell that that's not where like all the CGI special effect budgets went to.
Right. Agreed. But I mean, like, you know, for 2010 and for holding you up, I don't think it would have held you up too much, but it definitely is noticeable to where we're at now with technology. I mean,
for sure.
You know,
and this is, you know, like I said before, this is considering the fact that it is a smaller budget, like kind of indie film.
2.2 million.
Yeah. Which nowadays, when you think about it, it's like nothing. It's like a drop in the hat for like movie producers.
Oh my God, you can go on. You could do a crowdsource and raise that.
Yeah, if you have a big enough following, for sure. But sort of the inverse of that is the last scene with the last troll.
Very good, right?
Yeah, I definitely thought, and you can still kind of tell, but for sure that you know that that's where like all the special effects budgets went to that last troll. I mean, they make it the poster of the movie, for God's sake.
And they do hit it, but I also thought they did it. So I think they did a great job with the scaling of that thing.
Yeah.
But the other aspect, though, I mean, is that when they're running between the legs of it as it's walking. So I mean, and that looks just as like you would, you know, Steven Spielberg in Jurassic Park.
Yeah. In terms of special effects, I thought that specific scene was the best in terms of that. Because it definitely like gives you that sense of danger, and I didn't feel like I was obligated to suspend my disbelief for it. Like I genuinely felt scared for the characters,
and you don't know. And that's funny too that you talk about it like that, because like I've seen this movie like 4 times. Like that's probably like my 5th time seeing it. And I still didn't remember. I was like, oh fuck, like don't they get eaten by this thing? Like I'm sitting there trying to remember. I was like, this is pretty fucking intense.
Yeah,
you know,
very much so, and. There's that like sort of just added intensity, of course, too, with like the dude who's like bitten, and you don't know when he's gonna like go crazy with the rabies too, you know.
Well, you don't even really know what's going on with him until they get the phone call.
Yeah.
You know, so like the whole time, and it's funny because like they put the tape on his jacket, so I think there's that cue of. Remember, he's bitten.
Yeah.
He's not going to always act like it, and you're never going to see him like always sick. But it's always because dude, they tape up his fucking coat, and I'm like, that's so janky. Like, go get a new coat or something, you know? But now that it's probably a cue so that every time you see it, you just remember, oh, yeah, he's got something going on.
Well, in that point, too, I just assumed that the characters, like the film crew, were so invested in what this guy was doing for a living and the fact that trolls existed that they would not drop anything to like abandon that sort of project that they were working on. They were like, deep into it at that point.
Dude, remember, you find trolls have been around for thousands of years. You know how much fucking history, if that was true, would be going on with Norway? Like, you've only found about the cover-ups for the last 30 years. Like, these things are, like he goes, they live to be, 1,000, 1,500 years old. Like, think of how much shit's been covered up for that long, and it's and
you're just now finding out about
iceberg.
It. Yeah.
Could you imagine the thirst you'd have to figure out, like, all right, like the power, like, oh yeah. I'm telling, it's rich conversation. Like that's one of the funny things too. So I watched it with someone, and we were talking, and like I'm like, it's kind of funny because this movie, like, yeah, it poses a lot of dumbass questions. Like you don't even think. So, I mean, you don't have to answer it now, but if you think about it, because we were talking about it, do you think that what they were doing was right, killing the trolls like that to preserve, Norway's peace of mind? Or
I think there's definitely like a admirable quality to what Hans did. Hans being like the Trollhunter in the movie, because I just looked at it as if he was like this really high risk taking DNR officer. In a way.
Oh, yeah.
Because, DNR officers and just like environmentalists in general, I guess, they have to keep track of like the population of certain animals, and sometimes they have to like put animals down if they get into like different territories. Like if a bear if a bear gets into like a neighborhood and there's like no safe way to get it out, I mean, they probably have to put it down.
Right.
And that's kind of what I was picturing with this film and watching it, and like watching Hans like, you know, kill the trolls. And it's not like he was doing it without purpose. You know, they'd get out of their territory, or he would need a blood sample so that they could do more research on the trolls. You know, him getting the blood sample is like how they found out that a lot of the trolls that they've encountered in the movie have rabies.
Well, and why possibly that they were getting out of their territory, and, you know, like why they might have been moving around from spot to spot.
Exactly. And it has a purpose, you know, him like killing these trolls has an end all be all. Just finding out their habits and the environment that they interact with, and also they don't kill every single troll that they interact with. I mean, the mountain kings that they escape from, you know, there's like no way to deal with those really in a head-on way like they do every other troll. So they just have to get the fuck out of there. Basically,
he did take out some, but yeah,
for sure, mostly just through self-preservation, I guess. What did you think of the ending where like Hans basically kills the giant troll that they're dealing with in like the third act of the movie, and like you see him just walk away in the distance?
So there's two trains of thought that I had.
Okay.
One was, I mean, this is just conspiracy Matt coming out, so grab onto your fucking seatbelts. Here we go. One was that Hans, as soon as he was found on the ferry, knew that he could not get these kids away, and that the TSS, being a little bit too high profile, had to keep track on what the kids were doing.
Right.
So Hans put on the allure of being a worn out troll hunter, you know, saying, I'm going to bring this all crashing down. I want you guys to follow me. And it was probably driving to a point where it was going to get to that end scene. And that's where it ultimately led to, is he maybe planned for the Yantnar to take out the, I don't even know how to say the thing's name. Pretty badass, so I like the name.
Yeah.
To take out the kids, and then it didn't happen.
Interesting.
So that's why, because he's driving through the legs of this thing, trying to get out in front, right?
Yeah.
So I was a little confused on how they got caught up and how it happened. So I almost think it was intentionally done by Hans.
Interesting.
So that it could be set up in a way where he could get away. But the other aspect of it that I look at is that Hans was either looking at, it's either we take them out or take all of you out. You get to the Yantner, we'll meet up with you, and either you part ways with these kids, or all four of you are going down. So it might have been a suicide mission, and when it didn't happen, when the Yantner didn't take them out, he just said, all right, now's the time, I'm going to part ways. So what was your take on it?
I guess the only thing that kind of conflicts with, like, I guess your conspiracy side of things for me is the fact that he just told them to stay back when he like first encountered the Yantner and tried to like get at it with like his flashing lights and stuff. Because the only reason that he didn't kill it then and there is because the lights started to fail. So if the lights had worked in that moment, then the troll would have been dead and the kids would have been fine.
Now, what was still coming though?
The TSS.
And wasn't he far enough away to where he could have just took off in the car?
I guess, but
think about the only time they ever separate ways. Besides he did tell him once when they were with the Ringlefinch under the bridge, stay back.
Yeah.
But really the only time they ever part ways is that one moment where he says, I'm going to take this out by myself. I'm the only one to ever do it.
Interesting. It is an interesting perspective. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it.
No, I don't. And like I said, that's why it's a conspiracy theory. Honestly, right. The reason why I have a hard time with it is because he goes, I think he says this is it. Right? Doesn't he say something along those lines?
I don't remember.
So I'm trying to, because I've always had that issue, because he fucking kills it and then he just starts walking away from it. So obviously, in my opinion, he knows what's coming. And it doesn't, there's nothing that's alluded to. He's a loner.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It is something to acknowledge, though, because I saw, obviously I saw the movie.
What?
Yeah, I know. Crazy. Watching that ending and watching him walk away, I had more questions than I did answers at that point. I was like, okay, obviously the TSS is like coming to get the kids, but that's like after he starts walking away after killing the troll. Like he doesn't even come back to the car. It's something to ponder in that moment, and like maybe he did know that they were coming at that point, but it's an ending that's for sure like up to interpretation, because they give that message at the end that says like none of the kids involved have ever like been found or anything, and this footage has been like up for debate like across the world or whatever. Trying to get Norway to acknowledge that trolls exist, and you get like the last shot of the main film kid like trying to get away, and like the semi truck is coming towards him, and you hear it honking, and like the camera's shaking, and then it just cuts to black, and it just tells you that those were the last moments of the recording for the entire thing.
Right.
And they definitely like wanted to leave that like air of interpretation and mystery. And I don't think you're necessarily wrong for being a little bit conspiracy theorist about it, because that's probably what they wanted.
Well, so I was just Hans, before when he's going out there, he tells the kids, he said, this highway will take you to where you need to go. So he kind of says like, this is going to be it. Yeah. I'm leaving here, the highway. So that's where I was a little conflicted, because I don't remember him ever like when I first was thinking about these things. I don't remember him saying anything. It was just kind of like, I'm going to go get this thing. I'll be back. And then never comes back. Which makes me, but then like watching it yesterday, he does say like this is the highway. If you follow this, it's going to take you up to the the Jotunheim National Park. You can from there you can So it does leave the question, did he or didn't he know? I mean, do you think he was going to intentionally have him walk to their death? But even if the TSS was coming, why wouldn't he just say stay here? Right. And why did he leave them? That's what I want.
Questions that we have for the movie, for the director,
Andre Yarfidel,
for Kenneth Braggle Goggle,
Braggle Goggle,
Kenneth Fraggle Rock. So
God, he could literally put money in a gun and shoot it at us and hurt us.
Oh my God! So I guess we can wrap things up for Trollhunter.
Yeah.
If you had to rate it, what would you rate it?
Oh, dude! Like this is on the inverted scale of 1 to fun. Definitely up there with fun. I honestly think. I mean, the only lacking part is actually the ending, which I did a little bit of a review on, and Ebert does make a good point that with the found footage films, they always have to have an abrupt ending. Yeah, and I don't think it's because you can end it effectively. So that's the most effective way of doing it, if that makes sense. So I mean, that probably is my biggest gripe with it. But I think there's a lot to be talked about. And when you sit here, we honestly just talked about 40 minutes about fucking trolls. Not fucking trolls, but trolls. Yeah, we're not disgusting. That's bestiality.
There's an italicized word in there.
Yes. Should be bleeped. Yeah. Trolls. No, so I mean, I think it's really fun. I mean, it's one of those films. I don't think it's like necessarily like rush out and see, but it's definitely something that you could sit down, and if people want to drift away, kind of like you said, in the fantasy realm of things, of being able to say, all right, if they were real, what could you talk about? And I mean, fuck, man, you just actually gave a really good definition about troll population and why you probably have someone, taking care of this, monitoring habitats, environment, making sure that the ecosystem's not getting that's coming to talk about trolls. They don't even fucking exist. Yeah. So anyways, I'm like, that's probably, I think on IMDb it's at 8 or a 9 for me. Okay. I mean, it's just really something that I thoroughly enjoy, and I think that's like a cheeseburger movie for me.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I might get a cheeseburger later. Sounds pretty good.
Damn. Trollhunter 2.
If I had to score it, I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Woo! Believe that.
Yeehaw. And speaking of scoring movies, it's a nice little segue into something that I want to give a shout out to, which is my Letterboxd. If you, listener, are interested in what I, as somebody who is an asshole, has to say about movies, then you can go on to Letterboxd. You might be asking yourself, what is Letterboxd? Well, my beautiful rosy-cheeked friend, Letterboxd is a website that you can go on and rate movies that you've seen, and log movies that you've seen, and leave reviews for movies that you've seen. a lot of it has to do with movies that you've seen, and that's for a good reason, is because it is a movie rating app. You can download the app, or you can just go on the website from your desktop, Letterboxd, look up Neon Kyle, capital N-E-O-N, capital K-Y-L-E, and you'll find my profile. I've been doing my best to go through all the movies that I've seen that I can remember enough to rate, and I've even left some funny little, cute little reviews for people to read. Little cheeky nuggets of words that you can bestow upon your eyeballs. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, look me up on there. Give me a little follow. You can follow people on there. I follow a few people on there myself. And it's just a fun little way to keep track of what I think about movies and what other people think about movies. You can find tons of other people that you might follow on YouTube or celebrities that you might know of. Probably definitely don't know because you're a poor lower class degenerate. But if that sounds like your cup of tea, then I think it would be fun if you went on there and looked me up. Look me up on Letterboxd, Neon Kyle. My icon is a stupid little drawing that I made of myself like a year ago, with a little mustache. And it's I think it's pretty funny. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit real quick.
Dope.
Give that a little shout out.
There you go. I got to get a Letterboxd too, but I don't write that well.
Nah, you write good. You write pretty darn good.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that one.
There you go.
2 sentences.
2 cents reviews. There's a market for that.
Dude, is there?
We'll find out. There is. Some of my reviews are pretty short.
Okay.
Like I don't. Some of them I don't go into great detail. Like the Kim Possible live action movie, I think I just literally wrote garbage ass.
Oh.
So there's a little preview for you right there of my my reviewing process.
An adjective and a noun.
Yep. Exactly. Some of them are a little longer. Some of them are that short.
Several adjectives and several nouns. It sounds like maybe a verb.
Some spaces in between, a few periods here and there, maybe even a comma.
Shut up.
Bleed that.
Yeah, there we go. Our first bleed that from Kyle. Hey.
It was very so slow compared to how you say it.
It's all right, man. That's a story for a different time.
All right. Well, we'll have to dig that up sometime.
Yeah.
Speaking of digging up.
Oh,
the dirt from the earth is what happens when the moon gets too close to the surface of the planet. And that is the movie that we're going to talk about next, Moonfall.
Oh.
Jesus
awesome.
Christmas.
Oh, dude. So I'll tell you should I do the facts and figures or story first? It's not. Who the fuck cares about the story? I mean, honestly, I went and dropped way too much money on it.
I guess. Okay,
I won't rant.
Here's my first question for you. Did you watch this at home or did you watch this in theaters?
No, dude. I fucking paid money. Literally might as well shit on it and burn it and put it on someone's porch and have them stomp it out. Okay, so is this on something?
I have no fucking clue.
So we talked about going. I mean, so we did talk about how
Mac and I tried to see it together.
Yeah.
But schedules and things happening didn't work out that way.
Yeah. So
unfortunately,
I hope whatever what blocked you off on your schedule went well. Not so much. Made it out alive.
I don't even remember what I had going on. I think it was physical therapy or something, right?
No, it was house looking.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, no, that's a whole other story.
Whole nother story.
Yeah. I have a lot going on lately.
I was about to say, I can tell. So, yeah. So we were gonna go watch it, and then it kind of fell through. I was getting my son that day, so I had a little bit of time to sneak in a movie, and yeah, I walked up. I grabbed some M&Ms. It's like, I'm going to get some popcorn and a diet DMD, and I'll enjoy it. And all said and done, the lady said $31.78. And I thought, there's so much stuff that I could be buying right now that I hope it doesn't make this not worth it.
That's criminal.
And man, oh. There will be times where I probably look back. There's a couple questionable purchases I've made in my life.
This will be one of them?
Oh, yeah. 100 and just... I mean, it's...
Because I think I saw it the next day.
The worst part is, like, I was like, I'm going to enjoy myself. And I guess I did eating, which is not all that great because I'm trying not to eat. So it was kind of like one of those masochists.
You took an L for the day.
Man.
There's no doubt about that.
I did enjoy myself with everything that happened and the fact that we're talking about it now. It was good. So you saw it the next day and yeah. Did you just get a ticket?
I just got a ticket. I snuck candy in, but that's all that I do because I try not to get a drink because I don't want to take a piss during the movie, and I try not to
Which I did.
Yeah, and I try not to buy anything from there because it's dog ass expensive, as you have just summarized for me. $31 and how many cents?
It was like 78 cents.
Okay, yeah, that's
I looked at the screen and I almost thought about telling him like to take it all back.
I could have bought an entire meal at the refined establishment known as Olive Garden, and I still would not have paid that as much for my meal as you have for that movie.
I've dropped $81 on 2 movies. I took Preston to one of them.
Do you remember which ones?
Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home was like 50 spot.
Okay.
For me and my son to enjoy ourselves. And then this was $31. And I'm sitting here, I'm just like, no wonder fucking people don't go watch this shit anymore. I'll sit at home and watch a shit movie and fucking enjoy. I'll eat a steak. I could eat a steak.
You could eat whatever you want at your home
when you
watch a movie.
Remember when we were talking about that the other day and it was like, hey, Mac, like you saw Dune at home. Like, do you think it was worth it? Yes. I don't think there will be anything ever in my life now after dropping $31 fucking dollars to have my eyes fucking orgasm. I'm good. All right. Like it's fine and dandy. Like, sorry, filmmakers, but like that's where it's going. Bitch at the movie theaters.
Sorry, Christopher Nolan. Audiences are going a different direction.
Dude, I mean, like, what do you expect? You go into these things and they're like, hey, drop it. You could buy a video game and enjoy that for a longer time than Moonfall.
Yeah.
All right? Roland Emmerich is a fucking crook.
Shows. Speaking of which, should we get into like the summary? I guess I can summarize what this movie's
Let me
about.
do this real quick. So, 2022 director. It was directed by Roland Emmerich.
Yep.
All right, so you might know him from Independence Day.
Yep.
Godzilla.
Yep.
The Patriot. Day After Tomorrow, and 2012. Now, there's a couple other choices in there. But that's one.
Those are his most notable filmography picks.
I went with so I was telling we'll get into it. The budget. So we'll get into the budgets too. This thing is it was $150 million.
Jesus,
that's how much it was budgeted for him. Well, I took some facts and figures because I was kind of curious about fucking Roland fucking Emmerich stealing people's money and how well he does it.
Yeah,
they're pretty effective.
Pretty effective. I mean, he got $31.78 out of you.
Oh my god.
So there's a trend with Roland Emmerich in his filmography. If you listener haven't noticed, and that is. The fact that he is a disaster movie connoisseur. He loves making big, giant CGI explosion, butthole orgasm movies that just do nothing but crash cars and planets into big old other planets, and buildings into buildings, and aliens into buildings, and all this stuff.
Man.
So I guess I can give a quick summary as to what this movie is. The moon gets too close to the Earth and bad things happen. That's pretty much it. If you want a more detailed summary of that, I guess it's about Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry being astronauts. Something goes wrong. Their spaceship crashes. One of the crew members dies. Patrick Wilson has to fly the spaceship back to Earth without power, but he succeeds in saving himself and Halle Berry. He gets fired because people label him as reckless. 10 years pass. And all of a sudden, people notice that the moon's orbit is off of its usual course, and it's getting closer to Earth with each passing by that it does. And that's pretty much it without spoiling it.
We're gonna do it anyways.
We're gonna do it anyways.
I have diarrhea of the mouth right now. So. I hated this film.
You hated it. Damn. I didn't think it was a good movie.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Okay.
Let me just throw this out there right now, because I might, based on your reactions and based on how you feel about this, I might like sort of have to defend myself a little.
No, maybe
because I kind of admire the fact that this movie just fucking went for it. It just absolutely kind of knew what it was, and it just sort of bashed its head against the wall and said, "There it is. There's my brain blood. Look at it." And it's not good.
I don't know if it's
not. It's not.
I mean,
it's not a good film. Let me just preface that right now. I regret paying money for it in the theater to see it.
Miramax came up to him and was like, "Here's a bunch of money, do whatever you want." And he just bought coke and was doing it off strippers' asses and just like, "What are you directing?" And it was like Jesse in Breaking Bad. And he's like, "Oh, I got to get a fucking RV." And some guy's like, "I know how to get you an RV."
Exactly. And for that, I kind of admire it a little bit.
Okay.
I say kind of. So let me just get this out of the way. Let me rip the bandage off right now. The movie starts off as like kind of a generic ass disaster movie where the moon is getting closer to the earth and bad shit's happening.
Yeah.
Gravity's all out of whack. Buildings are getting flooded with like the tides and all that stuff, which by the way, the first like tide scene in LA just looked like complete shit. Like the special effect.
Like shit.
Yeah, like you could clearly tell that they just took like a PNG of like some of the cars in there and just slid them around in the scene. Like there's no like 3D detail to some of them. No. They're literally just JPEGs just sliding around everywhere.
And I don't even know how the camera's just zoomed out. Like it's just
it like the extra time it could have taken to like easily make a 3D model of those cars.
Independence Day looked better than this fucking film. Like Independence Day was made in 98. This was way more noticeably distracting than that.
Yeah, for sure. And then so it starts off that way, and then it goes into a territory that I sort of didn't expect, which was it's sort of like long distance alien ancestral human relations of like these people that have lived on like this Halo like planet for like billions of years. And then all of a sudden an AI gets control of that society and starts destroying people. So then they make these like giant like home spheres that is basically what the moon is. And they like send them off to different parts of the universe so that they can start anew and escape from the AI. But then the AI catches up to almost every single one of them and destroys them, except for the one that turns out to be the Earth's moon. So then the Earth's moon like creates basically the solar system that the Earth is a part of, like creates the sun, creates like all the other planets, creates Earth as a planet, and makes it viable for humanity to basically like quote unquote start over. So like they made all like human history in this movie like kind of like Prometheus, where it just starts somewhere else and just gets transported to Earth over like the course of billions of years. And then they find out that the moon is basically like this giant machine that they like go inside of, and it's like this big old Halo ring looking thing. Like it looks like something that the Forerunners made in the Halo games. And they find out that just that the moon is being like taken over by one of the AIs that just happened to have come across it when Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry were like in space in the spaceship that crashed like 10 years before the events of the movie. And yeah, you find out that the moon is like this giant artificial thing, and it's fucking bonkers. It is insane.
I was talking to a friend, and I told them, I said this movie was made for like 13-year-olds with ADD.
Exactly.
Like I told her, I was like, it's how I'd feel if I was like a fucking like one of the borrowers. Yeah. And got stuck in a strobe light.
Oh my god!
Like bonkers, wild, no care in the world. I feel like he
unabashed.
He didn't even take a gun to me. I was like, "Give me your money." Like he sold me a lemon. Like I now know what it feels like to buy a lemon. Like so bad.
Your expectations were subverted in the most wild, like unexpected way.
Zero, and I didn't even know Roland Emmerich directed it until after the film.
Yeah.
I was watching it and I'm like, oh my God, he did this? How could he?
How dare you?
Oh my God. Like, dude. How about oh my God, this fucking film, dude. There's two. How about Patrick Wilson okay.
There's 2 redeemable qualities. Is that what you were going to say?
No, there's nothing. All right. But the best part is the thing hits the guy, kills him, right? And Halle Berry's like floating in space, passed out, and he looks at her and points, goes, I'm going to get you out of here.
She can't fucking hear single thing
Nothing,
that he's
right?
saying. She's passed out.
And guess what happens? Literally 15 minutes later, his son's going to jail, and he does the same. He goes, I'm going to get you out of here. And I was like, what the fuck's up with Patrick Wilson just telling these people
this? He's just telling people that can't even hear him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get you out of here, son. It's like dude's already on the other side of the door.
Oh, my God. So bad. So the exposition in this film is so fucking out.
And then the reason that they have to make for Patrick Wilson, Halle Berry, and then the fat dude from Game of Thrones.
Yep.
The reason that they have to make for those specific characters to go into space is so fucking lame. They have to basically say like, oh, one of the engines is down. We can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
all right, everybody, all the astronauts and like all the crew that's like worked on this for like the past 72 hours, just go home, be with your family. It's all good. And then like 10 minutes later, they're like, oh, wait. There is a way for us to go up there.
Yeah, he goes nuts on the computer.
Yeah. And then, like, everybody at that point's already gone. Well, we have to go into space now.
Because they didn't have a fucking budget. He's like, I'm going to spend it all on this, and we'll just have 3 people carry this fucking...
Not only that, well, like, you can tell that those 3 characters are, like, the main, like, quote-unquote heroes.
Yeah,
and they're going to have them go into space eventually anyway.
Yeah. I mean...
But then they make this lame-ass excuse of, like, everyone's gone.
Hey, like, the engine's out. See you guys later. Like, literally evacuate in 10 minutes. And then, like... Oh, man, like, say, we can't take it off.
Yeah. Like, everyone's gone.
Yeah, where was that? Well, the best part... So, they're like... So they're talking about like, yeah, they're gonna nuke it. They're gonna nuke it. They're gonna nuke it. Who's gonna nuke it? Like my ex-husband, which I'm gonna get to that fucking in a second. Because these decisions in this movie are fucking wild. When you say bonker, like, yeah, the effects, like living in the mind of like a fucking crazy person. But not only that, the decisions that are made in this film. But like,
they make no sense.
Oh my, we're going to go up to the moon. They're going to nuke it, which I don't understand how that saves life. Maybe it's like survival of the fittest. You know, it's the last desperation. Like there'll be a nuclear fallout, well, I'll freeze it, however it goes, right?
Yeah.
But they're like, we're going up there, they're gonna nuke it, and like at when they're going, I'm just thinking in my head like they don't have any communication with Earth anyway. So even if somehow they do stop this, how, like, what happens?
Yeah,
because no one's in there like the moon's gonna go back to where it needs to go.
The only reason that they don't nuke the moon at the end of the movie is because the kid knows that his mom is in space, so then he tells his dad, oh, mommy's in space, like right before they're like about to launch the nukes at the moon.
And he puts the entire, not like United States, fucking Earth,
the whole planet,
in the hands of his ex-wife. Yeah. And then he even goes, my ex-wife's up there, back the fuck off.
Well, not only that, but like they like you said, they would have had no way to communicate that to them, to not have them launch the nukes if that little kid hadn't said, my mommy's up in space, she's gonna save us. Like, what if that little kid just decided not to say that? Like, they would have nuked it anyway, and Earth would have been fucked.
Exactly.
Which it already kind of is. Like more than half of all humanity's got to be wiped out at that point. Like, everything's torn up. The moon was like basically like 2 miles over the surface of the planet. Like, what is there to save after that?
And this makes Armageddon look like a little kid's game when it comes to fucking like facts. Like, I had to look up some of this stuff. I was just going through some trying to figure out, and everyone is slamming like the fucking physics of all of this. Like,
well, I don't doubt that one bit. Like, I mean, this movie's already fucking ridiculous, but like Earth is basically wiped out at that point. Like,
oh my god,
did you really save the planet? Like, come on.
It was so and then they had the gravitational shift, and I was like, the first time with the water traveling and the rocket getting off, I was like, that was kind of a cool scene
when they're getting in the helicopter.
Yeah, so they were getting in the helicopter, and then they're getting in the spaceship because they got to beat it when they're going up.
Yeah.
And, so I was like, I kind of like that tidal wave coming at them, and there's, that it's a gravity. Like, they named it on the spot, and they knew exactly what was happening, which I have no clue how that. Like, if I feel like anyone would have been like, "Whoa, what the fuck is going?" And it's a gravitational shift.
Yeah, they just immediately know what it is, even though they've never seen anything like that before in their life.
And then they do it 3 more times. Like, it became like one of those things like, when's the next shift happening? Like, so fucking lame.
Every piece of dialogue just serves the purpose of like, all this stuff is happening, but we know exactly what to call it.
Yeah.
Like,
just perpetuate it. Oh my God. And then like I was talking about, I was like, I felt like this movie hit every demographic that you possibly could to get their butts in the seat. Like Roland Emmerich's like, all right, so there's
general masses are gonna eat this up.
Oh, I mean, like, so there was one. I was like, why, like, a Chinese American student, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was
like confused as to who she was for a while. I thought she might have been a lesbian, honestly.
Yeah, I thought her and Halle Berry were. Yeah.
I thought her and Halle Berry were married, and I was like, okay,
cool. Because she talks about her wedding.
Yeah,
and then you don't know she got divorced.
Well, that, and you don't like hear her say like husband or anything.
Exactly. It's
so,
like,
I just assumed that she was like in a gay relationship, which is cool. But then like they throw the fact that like, oh, she's an exchange student. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
make that a little more clear next time that I can know.
And this isn't like, I'm not poking and prodding at anything, but like I was like, all right, I wonder if this serves, like, if she's gonna have something go on. Like, I thought maybe there'd be a subplot with her not getting into the base because she's from China, and play a little bit into like the political tides that are going on.
Nope. I fucking bet you. I bet you that they included her character just to appeal to the Chinese market. I swear to God.
I'm telling, like,
now that you say it, and now that I think about it, it's so obvious.
Dude, I'm just saying. I mean, all right. So she does have like somewhat of a, like, it's a small role, but my whole point is,
it wouldn't make a difference.
You, as a Chinese American or even the Chinese market, it would be something where you could attach and relate and say, what would I do in that person's shoes?
Yeah.
Right? So you can project yourself onto what she's doing.
You can.
And then you'd be able to say, all right. So,
but you know for a fact that's not why they included her character. They included her character because they wanted to appeal to the Chinese market.
I'm telling. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's an ex-wife, because you're talking about, you have relationships between two, like, families that are divorced. So it's easy for a dad or a mom to see that, even as a single parent or has been part of a divorce, to go in there and see, because you can probably relate to some of the emotions. And there's a little bit of the heartstrings with the guy going, it's my ex-wife up there. I don't know why I divorced her, but I trust her ass wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have Patrick Wilson with the father and the son. So that's kind of a little bit of the hero's journey in reverse, which was like bizarre.
Yeah.
Right?
It's weird.
Seeking his son's approval, for fucking up. But like, I got behind
even though his son is a criminal that got arrested.
And then
So the only reason they set him up to be a criminal is so that they can give him a gun later, so that so the audience knows that he's like kind of a hard ass who can defend himself.
Well, I don't see now. That's why it's funny, because I had a hard time, because I was like, the whole time, like, his friend had the drugs, his friend did this, his friend stole the car, like, he's just innocent bystander. And I'm like sitting there, I was like, okay, so like, let's say he is. What's he gonna do with that gun?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I was kind of like, so I'm with you on that, but the other token was like, Patrick Wilson makes this kid seem like he's completely innocent. Like, this is a bad decision.
Free my son.
Yeah. I'll get you out of here.
Wait, Judge, you can't do that. He's like shouting in court at the judge. Oh my
God, so bad. Like, I think 20 minutes into this, I was like, I think whoever directed, because I didn't know it was Emmerich, I was like, maybe this is like a comedy. Like, this will be a spoof or a satire of these films that are going on. Like, my take on The Matrix. I was like, it has to be.
Nope.
No. Well, so let's just, and I'm talking different demographics. You had African Americans. You had, white Americans.
You had Michael Peña, Scientologist Michael Peña.
Scientologist Mike, it's a different religion.
Exactly.
Involved. All right. And, Spanish American, right?
Yeah.
Asian American. All right. Married, divorced, single father, stepfather. All crammed. And you had a guy who's probably lacking confidence that believes in a whole bunch of weird shit that no one can relate to.
Conspiracy theorists. Yeah. This movie kind of like weirdly validates conspiracy theorists. It's a little weird, right? Because like
validate?
Because like the whole time he's going on about like the moon being what did he call it? Like
it was, oh my god,
he had a term for it. I forget. It was like a hyper machine or some shit
like that.
Which is like this very like conspiracy theory laden thing that like they make a point that it's a conspiracy theory throughout the entire movie, and then at the end of the movie you find out that he was right the entire time.
Yeah.
So, like, this movie is sending a message to conspiracy theorists. They're like, hey, maybe you guys are right. Keep saying wacky, kooky shit.
If this is their fucking anthem, like, okay, awesome.
It's like, all right,
it is true, but like,
people are going to feel validated weirdly after watching this movie.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, yeah. Oh my God.
It's not something that I thought about until now.
No, I mean, but you're right. It's, dude, he was given $150 million. It was like, I can't do that with this much money. And then it was like, just give me everyone. Like, well, it won't be good, but at least we'll get them here.
Give me all types of people. I have no idea what he sounds like. I don't even know what he looks like.
Oh, you want to know what he sounds like? As he's doing fucking blow-offs, some fucking Tammy's ass in fucking Puerto Rico. That's what he did, man. I'm sorry, Roland, if you're listening.
Mr. Emmerich. Please don't discount us yet.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, man.
Don't discount us like we've discounted your movie just now.
No, I will. I gave you $31 and I want my money back.
Please. I am owed. I think this movie... The only admirable thing about it is the fact that it just like kind of goes for it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It just has the balls to go in that direction, which is like I don't want to say high concept, but just like that outer realm of AI and aliens basically, and the moon being this artificial machine.
Is this a Scientology movie?
I mean, Michael Peña's in it. It totally could be.
What is Scientology? I'm like hearing this now. Now I'm thinking about this. I was like, isn't that what Scientology's about?
I mean, pretty much. Like, it's Xenu came to Earth and like splooged in the water or something, right?
Is this gonna be like Under the Silver Lake? Like this movie's gonna be a fucking roadmap?
This movie becomes a cult classic, like Under the Silver Lake.
What if we fucking like 15 years from now we just like hear people that are doing these outlandish things just like, following this?
If you look at Michael Peña's mustache, you can clearly tell that it's an Illuminati symbol.
Oh my god.
That would
oh no.
You know?
Oh my
I can see it. I can really see it.
This is so bad.
This is you know what it is? It's the thinking man's Don't Look Up. That's what I say.
Stop. Don't even More intellectual crowd, if you will.
Yeah. The acting in this movie. Halle Berry, I just feel like is not good in most of the things she's in.
Mailed this one in. I think the only guy that really, I thought my boy PW's son was like.
Oh, PW's son.
Yeah, PW's son.
Not PW.
Not PW. PW's son.
Okay.
All right. I thought at first I was like, man, he's really trying, but then like. At some point, like...
You're talking about the kid with the long hair, right?
Huh?
Yeah.
No, Patrick Wilson.
Okay, you are talking... Okay, yeah. You said PW's son. I thought you were talking about his son in the movie.
Patrick Wilson.
Okay.
It's all right. There's
PW's son. Sorry, it was a little lost on me. I got a little lost in the sauce.
I do that.
It's okay. You're subverting expectations like this movie did.
Whoa. I've been mild tempered too. I haven't really talked to anyone about this. So I said diarrhea of the mouth is just coming out. You
are letting it loose.
I don't go to the bathroom in movies, and I know what's going to happen here, and I have enough time to go back, and I'll come back, and I'll only miss half of this car chase scene that doesn't make any sense with all the shit going on that I can't make out. Like, there's a point where on the second gravitational thing, people are flying, semis are going crazy. And then on the third one, as it gets closer, you'd think it'd be even worse. Mm-hmm. No, it's just shifting around a little bit. Mm-hmm. For no reason. It's just we'll do whatever we want. What makes sense in the moment?
Yeah.
And do we have to stick by the rules of logic? No, because there's gonna be aliens in space that created the entire solar system.
Yeah, it's an excuse.
The moon just does whatever it does. Like, physics be damned.
The moon is sentient in this movie. It changes its course throughout the entire piece. Magnanimous, isn't it?
If you can't get behind suspending your disbelief, you shouldn't be watching this film.
Is what Roland Emmerich said to the producers, and they said,
Tammy,
yes.
As he was telling her. I love just thinking about him just fucking bathing in fucking $100 bills that he got from Miramax to make this piece of shit film.
His nose is just like powder white.
Oh my God.
From all the cocaine that he snorted.
Dude, you just sitting there laughing as he's drinking like a Bloody Mary and just watching the fucking trailers on repeat on TNT and FX as they play. Probably from like Armageddon, from Independence Day being aired and then 2020 on next.
Yep. Never being surrounded by money, I should say. So yeah, back to the acting.
Yeah, bad, right? Well, so what I thought the Samuel Tarly or whatever his name is.
Is he the fat one?
Yeah, and the guy he's got.
Okay, he's Game of Thrones boy.
Yeah.
He wasn't the worst. I thought he was okay. I mean, he played the character how they wanted him to play it.
No, I'm saying, like, I thought he did the best.
Yeah, like, for sure.
If someone was like, this is going to be your coming out party, like, hey, you just went from the Detroit Lions to the LA Rams, he's the guy I would pick.
Yeah. Way to I was wondering when you were going to include the Super Bowl in this.
It was just an analogy, and I didn't even know it. I was trying to think of a really shitty team and, like, how to go from B to A.
How to work your way up.
I did it though, guys. It's $20.
You got it. I'm proud of you. So Michael Peña, I did not like him in this movie.
He sucked.
The scene where he and his like daughter are like walking in the fog and they've got the oxygen mask because like oxygen is all fucked on the earth or whatever because of the moon. Whatever, logic.
Yep.
And so they got the masks on, and then like her mask like runs low, and then like he gives her mask. Dude keeps talking and breathing, like hold your breath, like keep walking with her as much as you can. Like, I don't know, like I feel like he unnecessarily like sacrificed himself, air quotes, to like save his daughter when they probably weren't even that far away, and he could have like just held his breath or something. Like, I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
I mean,
I'm not a dude who like knows about breathing science. But
I think out of all the things that were like me not liking him, like it's like third. I mean, at that point, I just didn't even give a shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that scene was so stupid.
That's when I came back to the Like, no. Had I come back to the bathroom? I don't remember. I might have checked out. I don't remember because all I remember is they come back and it's like they had the oxygen masks. And he's like, go.
Yeah.
I mean, Daddy's right here. And then I was like, it's really bad that this is supposed to be like a very touching scene, and I could just be like,
I just kind of found it funny.
I was like, I wonder if he's gonna keep crawling. Like that was kind of like, I wonder if like he'll like follow her like on like an army thing.
When's this dude freaking beef it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was incredibly unlikable and stale.
Yeah.
I mean, one dimensional.
He had like his character was stepdad. That was it.
Oh yeah,
the kids were even worse. I
don't even know
too.
if they
super
called
disposable.
All of them. They all sucked. Are you kidding me? All of them were one-dimensional. Not one fucking person in the sink that I care about. Wilson was the closest in the fucking inverted hero's journey to get his son's approval for fucking up after 10 years, which doesn't even make sense.
No.
Like, dude, the exposition of this is like the found footage of NASA and the story of what happened on the Apollo 21. And I'm like, how the fuck does NASA's top secret government like give away this found footage of, and they contradict themselves, and then the kids watching for no reason?
Yeah.
On who's watching MSNBC as a fucking 4-year-old, right? And knowing what's going on, and then all of a sudden it just goes 10 years later, and I'm like, really? Patrick Wilson had to follow? Like,
he's still got the snow globe with the astronauts in it.
Oh my god, I didn't even fucking realize that was a fucking thing until he goes, oh my god, that's what I gave my kid talking to the aliens. I was like, Oh yeah,
that just shows you that I miss my kid so much.
They don't even go like, did the kid even say, "Dad got this for me. I'm so excited for him to come back."
Yeah.
Like
it's just something that he had.
Do they? None of it.
That scene with Michael Peña, going back to it a little bit.
No,
it's kind of a double-edged sword because it's a terrible scene and I hated watching it, but. Michael Peña died, so you didn't have to deal with him anymore.
Oh, you're just going back to it? You're like, oh, yeah, they finally wrote off Stepdad. Yeah. There's a part, like, I was kind of expecting them when they got back to like, go out and find him and, like, he would still be alive.
I thought that's what they were going to do, too, honestly. Like, I thought he was going to, like, walk on, like, one of their shoulders for support and, like, he'd come back and he'd, like, have this goofy-ass smile and the daughters would be like, Dad! And they'd give him a hug, and he'd like fall to his knees.
And the kid would have been like, you know what, you're not so bad after all.
Yeah, they'd have this like cute little wrap up. No, straight dead.
Yeah, gone. See, the fucking Roland's like, he's costing too much of money. Let's fucking take him out.
He had to go back to Xenu.
He like locked the screenwriters in there. And was like, find a way to kill Stepfather.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Michael Peña. His name's Bruce. No. Stepfather. I want him out of my
film. His name in the script is Stepfather.
Oh, so bad.
The name of Patrick Wilson's son is long-haired criminal son.
So one-dimensional. Like,
the Game of Thrones dude is just called Fat Game of Thrones British boy.
I mean, like, unnecessarily had these people in this film, right?
Yeah.
Like, none of this had to happen. Like, Patrick Wilson could have gone to Earth just to been like the deadbeat dad that was like, I'll do it for my kid, and didn't even have like that like interaction. Kept the whole there's 6 characters right there that don't even need to be it.
No.
That didn't even need to be in there. Let's see, you could have took out the ex-husband on fucking NASA and just made it, like the NASA director tells Halle Berry, hey, you've got 72 hours or else we're nuking this thing. Ex-husband out, kid out. She's just doing it because she just inherited NASA and wants to save the world. Like, so much shit relying on other people and like nothing anyone cares about. Honestly, did you? If they would have nuked the moon and like, let's say they just killed him up there and like that was it, like, would you have been like, oh man, like, wow, like I would
have commended them for ending the movie that way. Honestly, that would have been more ballsy than what they already did. Like, honestly,
which didn't make any.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. They went for it, but it doesn't make any fucking sense.
All right. I mean, I don't even. It's so shitty. Like, at what point is like they went for it? Like, they just threw it in the film. But I mean, I guess they did a whole fucking. There was a second exposition in that. It's the first time I had a thought. I was like, can there really be 2 sets of exposition in a film? Because that fucking like we're gonna show the entire inception of the universe,
the creation of humanity.
Yeah, like, well, I guess because no one knows how they were created, and it's almost like Star Wars because all this shit was done, and then AI took it out, and now we're back to square one. So like that was, I think, 6 minutes of what's going on.
You know what I just thought of?
What?
The way it ends with because the fat British dude basically sacrifices himself.
Shock or
whatever. And he dies. But then the way that the artificial moon works, because it's kind of sentient in a way. Like, it's an AI of its own, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, it saves his consciousness.
Yep.
So then he's still, like, technically around, but he's just, like, basically a part of the moon now. He is the moon, kind of, in a way.
Right.
And so, like, he's talking to, like, the consciousness of the moon, like, him and the moon. And the moon is basically like, so I guess we better start working on making more life. And the guy's like, oh, hell yeah. It's like,
so why don't you... the moon?
Well, not only that, but, like, why don't you focus on helping Earth rebuild maybe first before you start doing that? Like... Earth is kind of fucked anyway.
Like, no care whatsoever.
Yeah, they're like, we did what we could. Let's just go make more life across the universe. It's like, all right. Earth is just basically a poverty state right now, but sure, go ahead. Abandon it.
I was so ready for this to end.
They're only set back like 300 years, basically. Like, they have to rebuild society. Like, come on.
I think the best part about it is all that. I think my favorite part was they get the helicopter, they land, and it's like they all rejoice with Patrick Wilson, and obviously, he's going to make a fourth child with the mom, and it's like, hey, what happened to stepfather? He didn't make it, and everyone's like, oh, man. Like, that was it.
Oh, man.
Like, sacrificed himself for his daughter, and Patrick Wilson's still doing his Patrick Wilson. Like, sorry to hear that, Jane. Hey, should we grab some hot dogs? It's just like, oh my God. How much life is lost in this film, and the fact that you don't really see one person cry or like, even,
it's all for like kind of goofs, and no one takes it seriously.
Yeah, they were just paid lots of money to fucking be in here, and they just said,
like the daughters kind of cry a little bit when they find out stepdad died, when they find out Scientologist Michael Peña kicked the bucket. But that's basically it. Like, that's the most grief you get in this film.
I mean, there's thousands of people dying, and the world's colliding, and capitalism and the fucking world markets as we know it are gone up in arms. It's going to probably be, like, not back to square one, but pretty damn close to having to reset.
Yeah.
And, like, it's, hey, I told you I got your back.
Hey, let's go grab some burgers, guys.
Like,
Jesus.
Hey, that's the equivalent of like, the movie's done too, guys. Like, we're ready.
Yeah. Like, this is the part where the credits roll. They might as well have just fucking said that.
Oh my God, so bad. Okay, so bad.
Let's wrap this up.
Okay. I'm
what
with it.
What would you rate it?
What would I rate it?
Yeah.
I laughed out loud, I think twice, maybe 3 times like that. I was actually pretty pleased that they got some laughs. Not enough for $31 fucking dollars, but no, I gave this a 3 out of 10. This is just above Gemini, man.
All right. Well, guess what, McClain Parker? I gave it the same exact score, 3 out of 10.
Here we go.
Bam.
There we go. So
don't you just love it when the moon and the sun align, unlike in this fucking movie?
Anyways, guys, go rush out and see this in theaters and get back with us your thoughts.
Get a large popcorn, large drink, get M&Ms. Some Sour Patch Kids from the theater. Don't sneak them in, otherwise you're a dirty sinner. And you'll die when the moon crashes into the earth.
Yeah, wait till we find out there's life in there. I'm telling you, maybe I need to see if this is is Roland Emmerich a Scientologist?
I don't know. Okay. We could research that, but I don't really feel like it. Really, to be honest with you. I just kind of feel like not really doing much about it right now. I mean, honestly, who's gonna call us out, right? Who's gonna say anything about us not doing our research?
I know a giant piece of shit that would.
We're gonna have him on the podcast one of these days, and he's gonna.
Oh no, he's actually I told him we would, and he's like looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. Well, that'll be sometime this year, hopefully. We'll have him on to defend himself. Mr. Parker. Speaking of your brother and what he has to say, we've got some questions.
Hey,
from the Facebook page.
Do.
Are you currently looking up if Roland Emmerich is a Scientologist or not?
Yeah, no, I just found a YouTube clip of him doing coke off some stripper's ass in Puerto Rico.
All right, let's we got our first question from the Facebook page.
I'm sorry, Roland. Independence Day is one of my top 5 films like all time.
Interesting. Future topic, I guess. So we got some questions from the FB. Thank you guys for leaving those on here.
Yeah, shout out.
A bunch of different people also left sets of questions. So this first set of questions comes from Sam Parker.
Hey.
He says, favorite character that you could cut out of the film and wouldn't change the plot a bit. And he gives an example of the strip club owner from Kill Bill 2, Elvis from True Romance, Gunseller from Taxi Driver, and Clint from Dazed and Confused. The Gunseller from Taxi Driver, they totally could have cut that clip out of the movie, and it probably wouldn't have made a difference. It kind of makes sense a little bit for Travis Bickle to have the audience like know that like he's going down this path of like purchasing guns and becoming a more violent protagonist. But other than that, like the character itself, is kind of doesn't really mean much. Yeah. Not really a character. It's more of like just a prop, a purpose for the character of Travis Bickle to do what he does. As far as like another example goes,
sorry, So I'm gonna, because I talked to him. He wasn't really looking. Cause I was completely confused.
I was gonna say you can go ahead because I nothing's really coming to mind for me right now.
Well, So I was talking to him a little bit about it because I read it and I'm like, are we trying to find like plot points or you could take guys? It was actually like favorite like characters that you really like that have certain scenes in them. So like for me,
interesting. I guess I kind of have an answer then. It's which in There Will Be Blood, which one is the brother that like
Paul?
Yeah, Paul. That brother. I like that character because it's like a good like dichotomy to the other brother that you meet later, who's also played by Paul Dano.
I guess, but he does drive the plot.
He drives the plot, but he's like, it's just to like, I don't know, get Daniel to like the oil fields. Like Daniel could have heard about like the oil fields from somewhere else, probably.
See, that's agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that would be my answer right now.
No, that's good. I had to ask him. I mean, and I was still kind of looking at him glass-eyed, and then I finally caught on. I was like, oh, because like in my head, I'm like, every person that is in a movie serves a purpose of the plot.
Some kind. Sometimes they don't, but that's kind of rare. I feel like, especially for good movies.
Well, and it's one of those things too, because I do agree. Like the examples he was given, I was like, yeah, but I mean, you could probably still make an argument. Like True Romance, when he was talking about Val Kilmer as Elvis, and he's telling Slater, to go out. He pretty much tells him to go out and do the actions that he does. Because I don't want to ruin that, because I don't know if people have seen True Romance that are listening.
Good call.
Mine is Philip Seymour Hoffman in Hard 8.
Have not seen that.
And then I had Ewan McGregor in Black Hawk Down, because he really doesn't serve a purpose, but he does have quite a bit of. He's got a little bit of a role in there. But then the other one I have was Ben Stiller in Orange County.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking through my movie lists on Letterboxd right now, and I'm trying to get some ideas just by looking at this.
It won't. I'm telling you right. Because you'd have to really sit down, or you have to. Something's got to pop into mind that you just like Paul, like you said. It could have been anyone that.
Yeah, like it's someone that like they do. I guess they do have a purpose to the plot, but it's not like super significant. Like. They could have just been easily interchangeable, and it wouldn't have changed the quality of the movie, I guess.
Yeah. That's what he was, and it's something that might be memorable.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's usually it's like a cameo, I would say. Yeah. So I mean, that's
I guess in The Big Short, Ryan Gosling's character, you could kind of make an argument for, because he's mostly just there for like the audience's sake. Because a lot of the time he's there is like he does interact with like the main characters of the movie, and he is kind of one of the main characters. But then he's also there to serve the purpose of like letting the audience know what's going on, and he breaks the fourth wall all the time.
Yeah, that's so. I would say that if you take him out of that film, it's a completely different film.
Well, okay.
I'm telling you, this is.
I don't know much about economics, so forgive me.
No, I'm just saying in terms of even character, like. I had to ask Sam.
I guess I don't know. This is a hard question.
It's challenging because you'd have to
give us easier shit to talk about.
Well, so Ben Stiller in Orange County is a firefighter. You've never seen Orange County, I guess.
No.
Jack Black's in it. Something happens. He's a firefighter, and he has like a little cameo. Anyone could have been in that role. They could have had a fire guy show up and not even introduce himself to Jack Black. So it's kind of like a funny little exchange between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would, but I'm telling you right now, I would not on to the next because I spent 45 minutes.
Yeah, let's not spend too much time on this.
So I mean, mine. So mine are, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I would suggest watching Hard 8 is a fantastic film. It's one of I think Paul Thomas Anderson's first films.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was a PTA movie.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Samuel L's in it. Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm trying to think if there's a young Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, okay. Pre-Goop?
Yeah.
Okay. His next question is, what 5 movies would you pick that are essential to any fan of cinema? A little bit of an easier question for us to go through. So I definitely think as far as like a modern film, I'd probably pick Drive. I love that movie to death. I think it's like one of the best ones that I've seen. And definitely the strongest Nicholas Winding Refn film. It gives you like a good it gives you like a good sense of like what movies are in terms of style for like that time period when the movie came out. And I feel like it set like the bar for a lot of films that like kind of tried to emulate it and came out after it. Sort of like an almost silent protagonist, very simple plot, but it's very stylistic in its presentation and it takes its time. So I'd say Drive. I guess if we're going like the route of like essential to any fan of cinema, would you say something like Psycho? Or
I went with. I just wrote down. So
you just wrote down what you.
Well, I
wanted.
didn't want to get into. So some of the time I come up with stuff that I'm like, this will be very thought provoking, and
that's my like question too.
I want to get into so I just picked 5 films that I think that are really good. That the reason why I would have someone watch them, and then who the fuck cares? So
okay,
I'll do mine if you want to. If you're gonna, my 5 it was 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I went with There Will Be Blood.
Okay.
No Country for Old Men. I think those are both 2 ways. One's a character study. The other one, I think No Country for Old Men is a really fantastic way to tell a story. Even though people question the ending, you could also spin it in a way that you say this is how you end films or not end films, and don't ever end a film on like an allegory or a fucking analogy or a metaphor.
Okay.
Right? The Revenant.
Ooh.
For cinematography.
Nice.
Really
good choice.
Another little bit of a character study, but I think that movie is stylized in a very it's a unique way. It's similar to like Drive, but it's not bright lights flashing. It's not the color scheme. It's mainly for like natural lighting and the elements, and I really liked the cinematography and some of the shots in there. Like it's the Spanish church is one of my favorite shots from that. And I've only seen that movie twice, and I still kind of remember him walking through that Spanish church and just how beautiful it was. Independence Day.
Okay.
ID4. Incorporating, for me, it would be incorporating special effects into I'd say a successful storyline.
Okay. No
matter how bizarre it is. That on paper screamed like it should be a very poor movie, like Moonfall.
Okay.
I don't think there's much of a difference. And the fact that it was made in 98 and still I think holds up relatively well to this day. I think it does a great job with special effects and just a really maybe simple story kind of. Aliens are going to take over the world. High concept film that just I think knocks it out. And then adaptation.
Okay.
I think adaptations are really it's a fun look at writing.
Interesting. Okay.
Kaufman.
I've got a good idea of which ones I want to pick now.
You got a better idea?
Yes.
All
so
right.
I'm still gonna go with Drive.
Okay. That's a great one too, by the way. I think that should go in there.
So for sure, Drive. I'm gonna say The Hunt with Mads Mikkelsen.
Ooh.
Came out 2012. It's a Danish film, so you get the foreign film in there. I think it's a good foreign film for people to watch. I definitely encourage people to watch it for sure.
Like a character study?
Yes. Well, not necessarily character study, just like a good like emotional story. I'm thinking of Ending Things.
Oh yeah, you love that film.
I love that film to death. Just like the different metaphors and symbolism and like you said with adaptation, the writing. It's Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah,
the writing is one of the strongest parts about the movie. John Wick. Because I think it's a really good example of like fight choreography in a film. It is kind of like a Keanu Reeves resurgence, and it's very stylistically made too, so you can appreciate it from a cinematography standpoint.
Yeah.
And then it's a hard pick, but I think I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna go with the 2003 Old Boy, because it is a great example of, and it came out almost 20 years ago now, which is kind of insane to think about, but is a great example of a really good modern tragedy.
It's a good point.
And it kind of takes that concept of a revenge story. Like John Wick, I love it to death, but it is kind of like a straightforward revenge film.
Yes.
Old Boy kind of takes that concept and flips it on its head while still being an effective part of that genre. And I really love it for that reason.
And yeah, I don't want to give. We're not giving anything away.
No,
but it's all. I wouldn't say believable, but to the point where when that happens,
Yeah, the way that things play out
yes.
is very believable.
Yeah,
for the situations the characters find themselves in.
What happens is, I think, incredible.
Yes. So yeah, I guess we answered that pretty nicely.
Listen, we're our only judges, so we kick ass on everything that we answer. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
Absolutely.
Besides our followers.
Hey, shout out.
Love you guys.
Mwah. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, his next question is, what movie road trip would you most like to join? Movie road trip. It's not my favorite film, but I kind of like the trip
Notice?
that. No, not Milo Notice. Fuck Milo Notice. Animal abuse. No, I was going to say the characters in Fanboys, that Star Wars film.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess like Star Wars. Could you call that a Star Wars film? It's about Star Wars, pretty much. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, the Fanboys.
Star Wars is trademark, so I don't think they'd accept it.
Maybe not. Yeah, it's kind of like a tribute to Star Wars.
Yeah, George Lucas would probably because he's probably super egotistical,
right,
have it stripped down on his doorstep.
I'm making a movie about my movie.
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I like the trip that those guys take. It's kind of like a rekindling of a friendship, and I like the physical journey that they're on, that they go through. I think it's kind of wholesome in a way.
Yeah.
So I'd say that.
Cool. I had two. One was Viggo Mortensen in The Road.
It's very okay. To each their own.
Literally a road trip.
The world might be in disarray. But
I would be his son and move him along.
Oh, can I be your dad?
Yeah.
Can I be Vigo?
No, I'm 31-year-old me with Vigo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so then can I be the naked the black dude?
The naked black guy?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Can I be one of the dudes in the basement?
Oh my god.
All right, we're saying too much about this film.
We're giving it all away.
Yeah.
No, so and then the one that I'd be more inclined to would be Ready to Rumble. With Gordy and Sean.
Okay.
I don't know. Gordy, Ready to Rumble?
Yeah. Can you give me a reason
why I would do it? So Ready to Rumble is about two guys that go and watch the King and he's in a wrestling match and something happens and they have to go save him and get his career back. So it's them traveling across the United States with the King and trying to figure things out and get him taken care of. And it's a comedy, lighthearted comedy, if you will. Okay. But those guys are more probably my alley, being meatheads and finding entertainment in very, I don't even know what to call it.
Carnal ways.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just,
I'm your word guy. I'm here for you.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's that I think that would be a fun one. And especially they're in an RV.
Okay.
So it's not like a van. Well, I guess some of it, depending on where you're at, I would be in the RV with the King and Gordy and Sean.
Okay.
And it would be getting back to Montana.
Sounds like a good reason.
Yeah.
I like that answer. His next question is any movie watching goals? I guess I can only speak for myself for this, but I have mentioned this before, and it's still the case for this year, is that I try to watch 2 new movies a week that I haven't seen before. And I try not to limit myself to any particular kind of movie, any particular genre. It's just whatever I'm feeling that day. Sometimes I only feel like watching a 90-minute movie. Sometimes I have time to kill and I watch something that's 3 hours long. Sometimes I'll watch a foreign film. Sometimes I'll watch a movie that came out in 1980. It just depends on the mood and depends on the time. Sometimes those movies are the ones that are recommended on this podcast, and I count those towards my count. But after the year is up and I've watched all the movies that have resulted in my, I guess, self-imposed goal, I make a video about it. And I've done that only once last year, but it's something that I've found is really fun to do. And it's kind of like a good exercise into trying to expose yourself to more films. And I really enjoy it, and I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I can. So I guess there's that. What about you, McClain?
I can only speak for Kyle and his movie watching goals of watching 2 new movies a week. No, I think mine is to learn a little bit more about movies, maybe the technical aspects of movies, being able to identify maybe cinematography, maybe describing a mood or what's going on, or being able to recognize the camera or the director talking to me without necessarily letting us know what's going on. So just to get better at watching film.
Yeah.
I kind of
think a little more critically about it.
Yeah. Break it down a little bit more, come up with more conspiracy theories, all that shit. So that's where I'd like to do a little bit more learning.
Yes.
Growth.
Speaking of learning and growth, his next question.
Boners.
Are there any talks on using IMDb or Googling for facts about the movies you watch and discuss? No.
No, piss off.
Andrew Austin has our next set of questions.
It's a coffee shop format. Sorry. I love you, Sam.
Shout out to my brother. Andrew has these set of questions. His first one is, what fake item from a movie would you want in the real world? And he gives the examples of lightsaber from Star Wars, Infinity Gauntlet with the stones from Marvel, etc.
So the listeners are kind of pondering this too, right? Like I'm just thinking about that. I mean, they're getting our intake, but
and that's kind of like the goal of like posting a questions thread, I guess, is like to have people think about what they would answer.
Well, I mean, even right now, listening, maybe they didn't pose a question, but they hear this. These are all great questions. I mean, I would be kind of interested in what Yeah. So, anyways,
I feel like a lot of it's my default where my brain wants to go is, of course, like a lot of superhero stuff. I mean, who wouldn't want Thor's hammer? Who wouldn't want Captain America's shield? Who wouldn't want Iron Man's suit? Like all of that is pretty like straightforward. I'm trying to think of an item that like isn't in the superhero genre, and it's a little tough. I guess it would be really cool to have like the coins that are in the John Wick films, like the currency that they use, so I can like go into like secret societies and like different hidden places and like have access to all that stuff. That'd be kind of neat.
You'd have to know where to go though, right?
You'd have to know where to go, but I mean, if you have a coin and you like flash it as like so many people, eventually one of them's gonna be like, and they'll reciprocate something.
Take your coins.
They definitely could do that. That is a possibility.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah,
that's cool. I want. Is that it? Is there any?
If I think of more, I'll say something. But that's all I got for right now.
The Ark. I was gonna go with the Ark of the Covenant. But I think dangerous. That's real.
Yeah, it's real, and not only that, but like if it actually did what it does in the movie, I feel like that'd be really, really risky to have around.
I mean, I'd fucking set my drinks on it.
Might melt your face off, but hey, at least you'll have a nice table.
There was that. Yeah, that was some symbolism going on. No. My answer is actually Inception. I want the suitcase from Inception. That would be I think that'd be awesome to be able to go in and create your own universe in your dreams.
Yeah,
and it's not even. It'd be like Oculus, except for 8 hours.
That'd be cool.
Unless your conscience attacks you.
The fake girlfriend from Blade Runner 2049.
Oh,
where you can like buy the little capsule and she like follows you around the house. She's just a hologram, but I don't know. That'd be kind of neat.
That would be kind of. I thought you were gonna go with Lars and the real girl.
No. Speaking of Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, segue.
His next question is, what movie set in the future do you think will become our reality, good or bad? And he gives examples of Blade Runner 2049, WALL-E, Ready Player One, Dune, Interstellar, Looper, etc., etc. He gives a lot of examples. Not really, didn't leave us much to work with.
I think
this
was kind of fruitful.
It is, yeah.
I went with. Well, what'd you go with? Am I going? Is Prometheus in the future?
I don't know if necessarily.
Prometheus.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if necessarily will become like Blade Runner 2049, but I mean, we've certainly already kind of adopted that style. I feel like that sort of like gloomy cityscape with like the neon lights scattered everywhere and like the droning like, you know, we've already got like these weird ambient sounds that you wouldn't get in like a forest or anything, you know, cars going off and like planes flying overhead. It's just kind of already there. So it's not totally unbelievable that that would be where we're headed, but I feel like we're a little further off than the year 2049. Me personally. Otherwise, do you have any answers?
Mm-hmm. I went with Elysium.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, the more so like the planet Earth itself, just like being in an impoverished state, like everybody's just
I think, I mean, you already
homeless.
see, you know, billionaires starting to take over. Population growth's widespread.
Yeah, the wealth inequality.
Yeah, I mean, Earth kind of, well, no, I'm just talking about, I mean, fucking, you know, we're just using her up.
Yeah.
You know, so you colonize space and only the wealthy can get up there, and then they look down at us, and then so there's a little bit of the population kind of hurting going on, you know? And yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. And then it's just space shuttles going back and forth.
Yeah. I'll have to give Elysium a rewatch. I remember it being okay.
No, it's not that great, but I mean, in terms of the question, like definitely I could see Bezos fucking colonizing the moon.
Right. And making a halo ring, basically.
Yeah, just shuttling, you know, because at some point well, you might get on there with your fucking coins that you're gonna take.
Yeah, all my John Wick gold coins.
Yeah, you flash that at enough people, you're gonna be on the moon with them. Or
I'll get shot.
I'm telling you,
one of the two.
It's going one way or the other.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You're gonna run into the wrong guy or not.
I just thought of this. I think this is a decent answer. And it's not really a movie; it's a TV show. But Black Mirror, I feel like, has a lot of potential for a lot of the concepts in that show to be real, and it kind of scares me, especially with like the AI sort of technology that's moving forward.
So you don't think Terminator's gonna happen then?
Maybe not Terminator necessarily, but we are already like in a sort of such a jaded world that any sort of funk in a technological way, we would just kind of adapt as like a new way of living, just naturally with just how things are. And it would just become kind of like Black Mirror, I feel like.
Sure, Oculus takes over
with
VR.
the way that they treat people in those shows or in those episodes. I feel like it's not too far off. We already treat people like shit. It's just that we don't have the technology that is in Black Mirror specifically yet. When we get there, it's going to be implemented that way no matter what, I feel like. Yeah. So I guess that's my end-all, be-all answer.
There we go, Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
And Elysium.
And Blade Runner. All those good ones. Justin has a set of questions for us. His first one, my boy Quentin Tarantino, doesn't get enough mentions. I don't need you to rank all 9 features, but could you give me maybe your favorite 4? And I'm glad he said 4 and not 5, because I think I've only seen 4 Quentin Tarantino. No, that's not true. I've seen 5. But yeah, I've only seen 5 Quentin Tarantino films.
So someone's not getting listed then.
No. And I do have like a full list of like all the ones I've seen. And I'll tell you which one's the last one.
You got 5.
Or here's something. You'll have to guess which one's the last one.
I know. That's what I was gonna say. Don't tell it, and then
yeah. Okay, we'll do that.
I'd be interested because that's what I was gonna say. Do 4, and now it's like, well, there's 5 left, and I got to pick one of them.
Yeah. You have to figure out which one's number 5.
Oh my god, it could be a shot in the heart too.
Okay,
that'd be awful.
My number 1 is Django Unchained. Love that film.
Yeah.
It's not only my favorite Quentin Tarantino, but just like one of my favorite films of all time. Inglourious Bastards is number 2.
Yes.
Really enjoy that film.
Yes.
I need to watch it more, but I just get so enwrapped in Django. Number 3 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think that film is...
So happy that you said that.
Yeah. I knew you'd be proud of that one, at least. I think that film is...
wrong with Tarantino though, so I'm not.
I think that film is just a good time. Like it's just it's a good look at the '60s in Hollywood, and you're just hanging out with Leo and Brad Pitt the entire time.
Time capsule piece, hanging out with 2 great guys.
Yep, exactly. Guys being dudes.
Yeah.
What's better than that? My number 4 is Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
So Mac, what's my number 5?
Kill Bill.
Nope, haven't seen it.
Okay, that rolls out another one. Reservoir Dogs.
Yes.
Number 5?
Number 5 is Reservoir Dogs.
Wow.
And I think it's based on all 5 movies that I've seen, I think it's a fair spot. It's not a bad film by any means, but it's definitely Quentin Tarantino's first, and you can tell he was like finding his footing in terms of like his style and what kind of movies he wanted to make.
Character development and timeline and how he manipulates the timeline. I mean, you're literally going from like 10 to 9.5.
Yeah.
Like it's not like there's a drop off. Like,
right.
You know, you're going from one step into the pool to the second fucking rung.
Exactly. So I feel pretty good about mine. What about you?
So my list is number 1, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I knew that was coming.
Dude, like I might go home and watch it tonight.
Nice.
Like it might just be like a little treat for myself.
You're going to have a long night.
I love that movie. It won't be long for me. Number 2 is Inglourious Bastards.
Okay.
Number 3 is Pulp Fiction.
All right.
Pulp Fiction's up there. Pulp Fiction was a movie that was on HBO, and I remember for some reason always seeing the cover at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And I just remember like my dad saying like, you can't watch this film, or you shouldn't watch, whatever it was. And I think I was like 11 or 12, and it was on HBO at 2 a.m. and fucking watched the whole thing and did not understand it, but like, awesome. And then number 4, so we did Tarantino films. I don't know where this constitutes as a film because, it was posed as a question of Tarantino films. He wrote a film called True Romance, and it was directed by Tony Scott. So Tarantino wrote this film. I don't know how Tony Scott got it from him, but there's a little bit more behind it. But it's a fantastic Tony Scott, Days of Thunder, The Last Boy Scout, Crimson Tide, The Fan, Enemy of the State. So anyways, and it's one of the films. The reason why I bring it up is because I think it's a lesser known film.
Okay.
Not a lot of people watch, but Tarantino has his hand all over it in terms of character development. There's more vignettes, I will say, so it's not necessarily a splicing of the timelines, where it jumps back and forth, but there are different things going on. So it's almost kind of like vignettes, a series of vignettes with these really rich characters, and the ability to make the characters, somewhat more than one-dimensional. Yeah. In a series of 5 minutes, I think takes a lot of fucking effort and skill, and he seriously does it, and it goes along. So I would recommend, and that's why Justin, when you get to listen to this, or anyone that hasn't seen True Romance, check it out.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention at least that I'm a little sad that Django didn't even make your list. But you know what? It's your list. You live how you want.
Django's right there.
I'm gonna do my best not to judge you too hard, I guess.
That's all right. Hey, I had to get True Romance on there because I don't think. You own it. It's a little bit of a sneaky pick. I don't know if it really counts in the spirit of the question, but it is a Tarantino film, and it's fucking amazing. I don't think anyone really talks about it nearly enough.
That's a good poignant point. His next question is, love it or hate it, directors making cameos in their movies. Speaking of Tarantino. So I guess we can start with him. I was not really distracted by him in Pulp Fiction. He kind of has like a acting role in Pulp Fiction. Like he's a character in that movie. Like I think his name's Jimmy or something. He plays a role in the story. Whereas like in Django Unchained, he makes a cameo in that, and he's like kind of distracting a little bit. Yeah, like he comes across as like really goofy, and the whole movie's kind of like silly in a way, but he's just really like
he's incredibly campy.
He's just hamming it up, and it's really like it kind of takes you out of the movie a little bit.
I don't even know why they had to make him Australian.
Yeah, exactly. He can't even do an Australian accent.
Yeah, it didn't make sense, and he's the one that wrote it.
Yeah, was he? Shut up, Black.
Yeah,
something really like
so dumb,
really on the nose. And like I just said, it depends on like the role that they play in the story, how good of an actor they are, and how like distracting it could be. Because if you got someone like let's say you're watching The Hunt, and this doesn't happen, but let's say like Thomas Vinterberg comes on screen and he like plays a character that interacts with Mads Mikkelsen. Like that wouldn't be too distracting because Thomas Vinterberg isn't really like a household name. Like, yeah, I couldn't tell you what he looks like.
Right.
So it really wouldn't take me out of that movie because he's not like such a well-known like personality or like a figure in cinema. Whereas like somebody like David Lynch, I feel like if he just like pops up on screen and like starts talking, I feel like that might take me out of the movie just because he's such a big personality already. Like I know who David Lynch is more than I know his films. And I know he too like has made some appearances in his own work, and I feel like that would be, like take away from the story just knowing the fact that he's the director.
Sure.
And he's just like right there. I don't know if you feel the same way or
no.
Whatever.
I the way I kind of was, I read it and I was like, I don't like it, but I don't have a problem with it, if that makes sense. I was kind of like my analogy was, I was like, if you were a coach and you called a play to, get a layup, but the game's out of hand, like,
interesting,
it doesn't impact anything that you do.
Yeah.
It'd be really weird to see, Bill Belichick on the field with the team up 35-0. Or, I mean, I know there's no sport talk here, but like, it'd be weird to see Fruitport head coach step onto the field at like one of the high school games and like he just ran in a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, what the fuck is that? But at the same token, if it's like 35 to Dick, like,
yeah,
I guess like, okay, So it's a little distracting in a way, in a sense, but I don't think, as long as there aren't any stakes.
Right. In terms of like just pure cameo, it can be a little distracting. But then you have some movies where the director is the star of the movie. Like he wrote it, he directed it, he stars in it.
Yeah.
George Clooney, exactly. Like you get those few cases where like, okay, he clearly like has a vision and a character to play. Like there's a purpose to him being in there because he wrote the character with him playing it in mind. Whereas like just a cameo like in Django from Quentin Tarantino is just like, all right, this is a little much. Like you're kind of you're kind of like a little too self-involved in that scene.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't take me out. I mean, it doesn't take me out all that much. I don't agree with it though. I mean, I would much rather have someone that's,
Yeah, give it a little more of a purpose than just be like, hey, I'm in the movie in the background. If you look like right there's me. It can go one way or another. It depends. It's a case by case thing.
Yeah.
Our last question comes from my friend Lauren, who has designed our logo. Shout out.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yes. If you could summarize yourself as 3 movie or television characters, who would they be and why? And I have answers for this. I actually wrote them down today. If you want me to go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I struggle. I'm like, I don't think there's any.
Might give you some ideas. So I obviously I had to pick 3. One of them is an interesting one. We'll get to that last. But the first one I picked was Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood. And this is more so my work personality than anything because I feel like sometimes at work I can be a little harsh to people and a little blunt when I need to be, in the same way that Daniel Plainview is when it comes to getting oil from where he wants. And I'm also a little like kind of bombastic at work sometimes. I'm very, very exaggerated and a little like, sometimes I just scream just because,
Sure. Primal.
Yeah, I'm very animalistic at at the Sam's Club, which is kind of similar to Daniel Plainview in that way.
Yeah.
The next character I picked was Carl Allen, who's Jim Carrey from Yes Man. Just kind of like base personality. Like he's just kind of silly.
Yeah.
Just a dude who's just trying to get through life. That's kind of just me. A little goofy, a little silly.
Yeah.
But I make some funny voices sometimes, and I try. Anyway, moving on. The last one I picked, I actually like combined kind of 2 characters because they're basically the same character.
Sure.
Tim Lake from About Time and Caleb Smith from Ex Machina. They're both played by Donald Gleason.
Oh, so you're just saying you're Donald Gleason.
I'm kind of Donald Gleason.
Okay.
A little bit.
All right.
He's just kind of like this nerdy, sort of shy dude who has like kind of a hard time connecting with some people, especially people that he's never met before.
Yeah.
And is a little bit awkward, but he's he's a nice dude. He's a kind guy. He's a good old chap. And he's just trying to do the best he can, you know? Basically the same character. Donald Gleason plays himself.
Like if you wrote yourself into a script, like I feel like Donald would play you.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I like Donald Gleason so much, is because I see myself in him.
A lot of
Mostly like my high school self.
Oh.
Early college.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
A little bit of a
He's a little bit more of a meek kind of character. Doesn't really interact with a whole lot of people that he doesn't know.
Witty and smart, and,
but he still has like
sense of humor.
Yeah, he's still got a little bit of something there, you know.
Yeah, definitely something you could pull out. Yeah, no, I like those. I mean, I tried to think about this one. I struggled with this. I couldn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't really. I don't.
It's a hard question.
Well, I mean, it really is, and you watch stuff because I like your takeaway with some of your aspects. So actually, there's two. I'm not gonna. So I'll do three, but two are from the same film.
Okay,
and it's actually funny. I don't know about funny, and don't roll your eyes, but one is Walter Sobchak and The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
That sometimes the uncontrollable rage.
All right.
The standing for principles that only make sense to you.
Nice.
And, kind of like getting upset with people about maybe not understanding or not knowing your plight. Mm-hmm. So, like, I was like, I'm definitely like, I have moments of Walter where I just lose it and it's like no reason whatsoever. Like it should be there, and I have a lot of because the other one is Jeffrey Lebowski.
They're like complete opposite sides of the spectrum.
I have a lot of like the laid back kind of, hey, we're just floating on.
Yeah,
like a little bit. I'm trying to think. Like one scene that strikes me is when he's with Maude. Right, and they procreate, and she's trying to
slight spoilers for Big Lebowski.
Yeah. We talked about it.
We talked about it, but people might not have listened to that episode.
That's true. So, well, that's not even a spoil. Well, no, I don't know.
Slight spoiler. That's why I said slight spoiler.
I agree with that. So, anyways, when he's going on, he's talking about the Seattle 7, and he did his work, and it was just kind of like, for the time being, that might have been like somewhat impactful, but here he is, and it's just still like, I did that, and I kind of feel like I've had some moments like that where I talk to people about things that I've done, or at the time it was somewhat big, but it's just kind of like it's here and there, and really it's just my laid backness. But no, I there's a mixture of the two.
Okay,
and then the last one was I was trying to find an idiot savant. The only one
I go with Rain Man.
No, I came up with John Nash from A Beautiful Mind.
Oh,
but so it's not idiot savant. He's more schizophrenic.
I was gonna say he had schizophrenia.
But like I've been like doing football and whatnot. I've multiple people have called me like an idiot savant. Like you're like some of the shit that you just rattle off sometimes is just either simple or stupid, however it goes. But I've had enough people roll their eyes at me when I get going on something, and so.
I don't think you're an idiot. I just think you're a savant, Mac.
Hey, thanks.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Domo.
Thank you. Thank you, Walter. What's your last name?
I think it's Sobchak.
Yeah, Walter Sobchak. Thank you, Walter Sobchak.
I mean, am I going fucking nuts? I have Buddy's face down and Nam.
What was all that stuff about Nam, man? That's probably one of my favorite lines in the movie. Honestly.
Oh my god!
At the end.
Yeah.
When he gives the speech.
No, it is so fucking. Oh my god!
Just out of left field.
Yeah.
Oh man. They acknowledge it too, which makes it even better.
It's so great. God, that movie is fucking fantastic. I might watch that tonight too.
All right. I guess that answers all the questions for now. We have more questions, but we'll answer them next episode.
Dope. So I guess I'm gonna be on the other end of that. Maybe I'm not gonna be able to write anything down.
No, but I think you'll have some things to say.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Always.
speaking of having things to say, I get to say what my film pick is.
Oh, shit.
For episode 14.
Recommendation.
Absolutely.
I'm going to recommend that you see this fucking film.
Yes.
Sorry.
You better see it.
Yeah.
I will kill you if you don't.
Oh.
So, I'm going to do something that we really haven't done not too much before. We've kind of done something like this, but
sure,
not exactly. I'm going to recommend a trilogy.
A trilogy?
Yes.
What?
We're going to watch 3 films.
We can do this?
Yes. We can. You want to know why? Because it's our podcast. We can do what we want.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm going to start fucking... Well,
you didn't know that you could do that?
3 films? All right. Well, let's hear what they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
These films, I don't even need to look anything up about them. No. I know them like the back of both of my hands.
Lord of the Rings.
I have a lot of invested interest in these films. They're some of my favorites.
Harry Potter.
They are ones that I would die for.
Blade Runner.
They are ones that I have written my college thesis about.
Whoa, this is getting freaking... Talk about a V-Day gift.
And that's something that we can talk about for next episode when you and I discuss the John Wick trilogy.
What?
I feel like it's time. I feel like we have to do it.
That's an easy... Those are easy watches.
There's some of my favorite films like ever made. Really well done action films. Of course, starring Keanu Reeves, all directed by Chad Stahelski. And yeah, we're going to talk about those 3 films, the ones that are all out so far, because they are making a 4th one.
I've heard.
And I'm really looking forward to that. But I figured we could delve into the first 3 movies that are out, kind of talk about those, give our thoughts, our opinions, our little goofs and gaffs, and talk about John Wick.
Wunderbar.
Awesome. How does that sound?
I mean, it's yeah, eye candy. I was getting nervous that you're gonna go with. I'm not gonna say any disturbing films whatsoever.
Okay.
Not giving any ammunition to watch things that need to change our perspective on life.
All right.
That sounds great. I'm not gonna lie. And there's a basketball star in the 3rd one. So
yes, there is.
I get to talk about sport ball.
Yes, you do for a little bit.
Yeah.
Before I cut you off.
Yeah, and there's no more fucking references to the Detroit Rams.
Exactly.
All right.
I'll cut that out. Anyway, yeah, so if you want to listen to us discuss the John Wick films in detail, be sure to watch all 3 of those.
Yeah.
John Wick Chapter 2, and John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum.
Are we HBO Max? Is that where you can find them?
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
I like how he said "find" twice.
Yes, absolutely. Because you will find yourself in immense joy after you watch them.
Orgasm of the eyes. That's what I like to call it, especially when they cry.
Yep, you're not wrong. So yeah, just be sure to watch those movies so that you're not spoiled for them for episode 14.
Dude, we're already up to 14?
Yes, we are.
Man, that's insane.
I know. It's crazy. Time, man. It just flops, or whatever they say, you know?
Yeah, the Stones said it best.
Yeah. Kenneth Braggle. Thank you guys for listening to episode 13. You can find us on YouTube if you search the Neon Crew Podcast. We're also on Spotify too. And our website, www.neoncrewpodcast.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I've decided that I'm going to use Instagram in sort of a different way.
Okay.
I'm going to start using it hopefully on a weekly basis to recommend films that I like and have really enjoyed in the past and maybe the present too. So far, the only film I've recommended on there is Columbus, which is a 2017 film that stars John Cho. It is a drama film.
I heard about that one.
Directed by Ko Ganada, who is a South Korean-born American filmmaker.
Uh-huh.
And I really loved that film. I thought it was really fantastic, and it's sort of a slow burn, but I think it's definitely worth the watch, and I definitely think more people need to see it. So check that out when you guys get a chance, and thank you guys again for listening. And Mac, any parting words?
WWTHD.
Bye, everyone.